Hey, what's up, JPV? Can you hear me? Hello? If you could type in the Hey, what's up, JPV? If you could type in the chat room if you can hear and see me. That would be great. We'll try to get things going here. Why do I have so many fucking windows open? Just give me a second to get set up here. What's up, K-Monger? 7. What up? What up? You guys, just give me a second to get set up here. Um, I got to send some people the link to the Google Hangout, and I also have to alert people on my alternate channel right now. So it's going to be a few minutes because YouTube is so fucking pissy about me playing music on my own fucking live streams. I can't entertain you guys with that while I get things set up here. So, um, you have to excuse me for just a second. Hopefully I know this channel doesn't have nearly as many followers as my other channel, but hopefully we can get at least 20 people in this motherfucker. We'll see. What's up, New World Rob? What up, boy? What's up, guys? You can hear me okay, right? Somebody tell me that they can hear me okay, please. Because I'm getting ready to send this link to people on my main channel. Because if you don't know, well, I'll get into that. Let me just send these people this fucking link over here right quick. I have a problem doing multitasking, doing things online, so. How did you guys' day go? Everybody have a good day? Well, that's the good news for you, New World Rob. If you fell asleep yesterday, you will have a chance to see tonight's live stream for sure. This is actually part 2 of what was supposed to be yesterday's full stream, but YouTube fucked with me over one song. I'm going to get into that with everybody in a second here. We got 5 people watching now. I know I got to keep y'all entertained because if I don't, y'all leave. So I'm going to have to keep talking while I'm over here on my main channel, letting everybody know to come over here. Damn, these damn ads. Y'all give me a second. It's going to take me just a couple of minutes here, set everything up the way I want it or the way I need it. All right, we are on board over on my main channel. Where the fuck did I put that video? Oh shit. Say playing the tape later. I don't know what that means when you say play the tape later. What's up, Antoine Johnson? What's up, boy? Says YouTube only censors the people they don't like. Everybody else get to do all kinds of other BS. Oh, trust me, brother. Trust me. I've seen all manner of shit on this fucking platform since I've been on here all the way back in 2006. You have no idea how much shit YouTube allows and smooths back like they don't fucking see. Trust me, they are full of shit with a capital S. But you know, it's all good because, you know, number one, I'm used to it at this point, which is why I wasn't upset about my stream being broken up yesterday. Number two, I think everybody can agree we had a pretty good stream last night. What do you guys say? 2 minutes, I mean 2 minutes, 2 hours, 2.5 hours of streaming. It was basically like a video comment, a lengthy video commentary for me. Because as I told you guys, the first part was just going to be me beating my gums about certain things, that, I was recapping and wanted to touch on. And the second part was going to be me bringing brothers on the panel, like I'm getting ready to do now. The mistake I made was playing music, trying to keep you guys entertained while I was trying to switch in between sessions and while I was getting stuff set up in the beginning. Yeah, if you guys, yeah, that stream is up on my main channel if you didn't see it. It was a very good stream actually. I just wished I had been able to get to the second session. At least YouTube's punk ass didn't break it up. Right in the middle of the first session. They broke it up in between the first sessions and second sessions. So basically, what we're gonna do here is we're just gonna do the second session on here today. Soon as I get this shit. Hey, what's up, Ignat Intellect? What up, boy? You're gonna get a chance. Anybody in the chat, you're gonna get a chance to join the panel in just a second here. Talking to you guys actually slows my mind down because I'm trying to focus on two things: talking to you guys and then launching this video that I made yesterday over on my main channel to let everybody know to come over here. I got to do that in both the video and the community post. So let me do this right here. I'm in the creator studio now. Let's see, how do I up? What the fuck? Oh, there we go. Okay, now I got to copy all of this shit. How's the weather treating you guys where you are? How's the weather treating you? Here in the Midwest, it just started warming completely up. It was so fucked up. We had it. It was damn ice fucking cold at night, and then it was fucking stove oven hot in the day, and that was as recently as late March, just a week or so ago. Shit was fucking. That's why I'm coughing so fucking much in my videos and my live streams, cause my body don't know what to fucking do. Don't know whether to catch a cold or catch a fucking heat stroke. Shit's crazy. Yeah, yeah. It got like 75 degrees today here in Illinois. And keep in mind, I'm way south of Chicago. I'm nowhere near Chicago. I'm down here in central Illinois, closer to the southwestern Indiana border. So, okay, I just launched that video on FoolTube. Now I have to recopy everything that I just did. Hopefully it gets some more people over here. We got 9 people in the stream. Let's see who else that I haven't mentioned here. Okay, I think I said hi to everybody that's joined so far. Hey, who were any of you guys, let me ask you this, were any of y'all on the alternative stream that I tried to launch after my first stream got cut off, where it was me, King Sigma, and a couple of other brothers, and then that big forehead ass bimbo, what's her name, Penny Proud, came on, and I had to boot her off like 50 times because I didn't know how to ban the bitch. Let me tell you, if y'all have not seen, first of all, if y'all have not seen who this troll is, please, and I'm gonna try to watch my words tonight on this live stream, but if y'all have not seen who this bimbo is, go to BitChute and Black Avenger right now and watch the video. A brother sent me an email of what this trick actually looks like, and it helps you understand why she's stalking black men. Cause ain't no black man stalking her ugly. Man, y'all should have been. If I recorded part of that stream, if I find that recording, because I haven't really looked for it in my computer database, I don't know where it's saved to. I'm gonna upload it to Black Avenger. That shit last night. Y'all missed the second part where after they cut my fucking stream, I had to fucking go over to like this thing called meet.google.com. Shit was fucking crazy. And when I went on there, some of y'all remember I posted a video that I later took down of the information on how to join that live stream. And it was like 2 other brothers that joined, and then Penny Proud's ugly ass. That shit was fucking pathetic, bro. That dude, hey, if have oh, what's up, Garlic Jeans? What's up, bro? Nice to see you in here. We're gonna get some more people in here in a minute. But if y'all ain't seen Penny Proud, man, it's kind of scary, bro. It's like that Momo demon looking thing that's going around scaring kids online. That chick look whack, bro. You can tell she on medication, and if she's not, she needs to be. Ain't nobody checking for that chick. And that's what I said. If y'all go to BitChute and Black Avenger right now and watch that, I can't play the video here because then YouTube will start fucking tripping. But I made the point, I didn't even waste as much time roasting Penny Proud for the way she looked. I just said, y'all need to understand these females that are coming into blackmail spaces anonymously. I'm not talking about the content creator bitches. I'm talking about these anonymous troll ass bitches. A lot of them, man, Freddy Cougar would run from a lot of these hoes, man. The Simone 56 type hoes, man. No, 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 no. It's like having a fucking parrot, man. No, no. Daddy says no. Daddy says no. Daddy don't want your cracker. These hoes ugly as hell, bro. For real. I'm not even exaggerating, bro. If you see that chick, and keep in mind that video that I have up on Black Avenger and BitChute right now, that was basically pretty much just like a fucking, that was just like a still shot of like I think it was like a 30-second video that she did way back, and I think it was JPV. It was either JPV or one of you brothers that you emailed me her you emailed me the video of her exposing herself. When I saw it, it kind of scared me. Hey, what's up, Beezy? What's up? What's up? We got almost a whole crew in here. Y'all give me just 1 second. I'm scared to turn my screen on because these motherfuckers at YouTube fucking tripping. But yeah, guys, I pretty much got confirmation from these punk motherfuckers on the Google Help forums that because I played Cyndi Lauper's Time After Time yesterday in the intro, they pretty much banned my fucking live stream on my main channel for 3 months. So from here on out, I'm gonna have to live stream over here if we do any live streams. The problem is getting the audience over here. That's the fucking problem. I mean, we got like 9 people over here now. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna download tonight's live stream and I'm gonna re-upload it over there on my main channel so people who didn't come in to the chat room tonight can see it. Okay, so I just launched that video. So now I gotta alert the brothers. Alert the brothers. Somebody says, Brian, you should try to do a scheduled show for a little while to build your channel. Yeah, that's a good idea. Oh, you talking about my channel over here? Yeah, because I can't live stream over there. Yeah, I might do something like that. One of the reasons why I don't do that is because I have a terrible habit. It don't matter what it is. Before I got my own business, even jobs, I am notorious for being late for shit. See what I'm saying? So I don't want to have motherfuckers waiting. I can't count a live stream that I was on time for when I announced it. I was always at least 20 minutes late. You know what I'm saying? That's why if you notice in more recent times as my main channel has gotten more popular and I started branching out on different platforms, I don't even fucking announce when I'm gonna do live streams anymore. I just do what those bimbos do, like Renaissance Woman and Cynthia G. I live stream when I fucking live stream. And it just be like, just like I don't announce most of the time when I'm gonna upload videos, as most people don't. Y'all see them when you see them. That's how I do live streams because I don't know what's gonna get in the way. I was in Indianapolis all last week, and I was thinking about live streaming from there, but I said no, let me get back because I'm so fucking busy right now, and it still took me like 2 fucking days. Damn, why do I have such a problem keeping my mind on things when I'm talking? Okay, now I gotta go to Gmail. Y'all forgive me. I wish I didn't have to. I mean, I love talking to you, brothers, but I also wish that I could focus on what I'm doing. But YouTube's punk ass won't let me play no music to entertain y'all while I'm doing this shit. So I can't just let the air sit still, cause I know niggas got short attention spans and shit. Sony doesn't fuck around. Oh man, it's not just Sony, man. It's just YouTube being a bitch, man. That's what they do, bro. You say you apologize, Beezy. You say I apologize for bringing all the attention and drama on the live stream yesterday. What what drama? You have to excuse me because when I'm in my headspace doing a live stream, I am rarely looking at the chat room. The only reason I'm looking at the chat room now is because I'm trying to keep y'all entertained while I'm setting this shit up. But when you say, Brian, you could probably be a little late as long as people know about around the time to look for you. Yeah, see that's the problem. And when I was a newbie to live streaming, man, it could take me up to a fucking hour to get that shit because I didn't know how to launch it from Google Hangouts right away. So oh shit. All right, I'm getting ready to send these brothers the link. Oh shit. Okay, copy Google Hangout, and now I'm gonna send all my good brothers this shit, if I may. Says that's because your mind processes things and the human mouth can't pronounce or talk that fast. Right. I'm running on, well, I'm higher than a 56K modem, but my processor ain't high enough. You ever seen them people that can multitask? I can't even talk on the phone with my mama and drive my fucking car. Like if I'm like delivering something to a client, I can't even do that and talk on the phone at the same time. I've ran over curbs doing that shit. I don't know. Some people they are good at multitasking, and there's something about when I start talking, I gotta focus on what the fuck I'm saying or who I'm talking to or who's talking to me. I can't be doing anything else. Now there are things that I can multitask on, but not when it comes to talking. All right, typing into these brothers. We are live now. Please join. We still only got about 9 people in this month, and that's fine. I don't expect to get a lot of people in the stream. I wish we could get as many people as we had yesterday, at least 80 people, but I doubt it. Um, this is why I like doing things a particular way, but YouTube's punk ass won't allow it. So I got to do things the half-assed way, or an alternative way at least. Says Beezy says you can always tell if you got a fast mind if you write fast and talk fast and then make mistakes. Well, I can talk fast, but you if my mind is divided about something, I'll do a lot of stuttering, slipping, tripping over my words because I'm always busy. There's always something to do. Okay, so I just sent those brothers. Let me make sure I sent it to all of them. See, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay. So Ignite Intellect, you should be receiving the link along with about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, along with about 6 other brothers, I think. I always send myself whatever I'm mass emailing just to make sure it went through. So I think that's all the brothers. Shit. So fucking much to keep up with. Okay. And so now I have one more thing that I need to do and put it over here on the community post.
Yeah, I'm here.
Oh, hey, what's up, brother?
Not much. You didn't see my comment?
What you talking about in the chat room?
Yeah, when I said Tarana Burke make Simone 56 look like Pam Grier in comparison.
Man, did you see Penny Proud's ugly? I'm gonna be not too because I know this is.
Yeah, I seen it.
I'm gonna try that Penny Proud troll ass that video that I uploaded earlier today.
Yeah, I feel it.
Whatever it's you know. Oh damn! I said, oh well, man, fuck YouTube. They gonna fuck with me no matter what I do. But anyway, no. I said,
Dang, yeah, they really got that strict on YouTube.
yeah, they claimed. So the email, I just released a video on my main channel, and on the video on my main channel, I explained why YouTube said that they interrupted the stream in between the first session and the second session. They claimed it was because the copyrighted material I was showing and playing. I played the Cyndi Lauper song, then the Funkadelic song, um, and then later on when I was switching in between sessions, I figured I'd switch it up and stop playing music because I knew they was gonna bitch if I kept playing copyrighted music. So then I
Yeah,
played a video for y'all, which was like a repeat news coverage of the North Hollywood Bank shootout. And so that's when the algorithm it saw all the copyrighted shit I was playing. And never mind that most of the stream was me running my fucking mouth for 2.5 hours. It picked that and like, oh, you copywriting for like 3 minutes of a 2.5 hour fucking stream. So it cut the shit off. So it's
oh,
like, man, what?
YouTube being petty.
Yeah, I know. If you look at, and I'm not hating on the brother, you know, I'm actually happy for him. But if you look at Tommy Sotomayor, he get away with just about anything now, man.
Yeah,
He be bullying the shit out them hoes. I mean, I don't blame him, but I'm just saying, I couldn't do 5% of the shit that he does and get away with it, bro.
yeah, that's how I guess how everybody figured that he had some type of contract or something with Google.
Oh yeah, oh yeah, oh hell yeah.
Yeah, that's crazy because he plays music on there all the time.
Yeah, well, he has. I know he set up his what's his name? His intro. I know that's his own musical
With the
creation, but
the breaking news nigga.
yeah, the breaking yeah, the breaking news thing. Breaking news thing.
News nigga.
I better not
Breaking
even say that
news.
because I might get a copyright claim for just singing that shit. YouTube
Hey,
so fucking petty with me.
yeah,
But
that's crazy.
yeah, man. I don't know if you you wasn't on that alternative stream last night, was you?
I was there
Oh, you was.
when the crazy girl kept on coming there because
Yeah, I had to.
y'all booted me out one time because y'all thought it was me when I mean y'all
Oh
thought I
yeah,
was
my
her.
bad, bro. Yeah, that whole had like she had like 3 or 4 different fucking numbers. One was unlisted, one was a 314, one was a 817, and then it was another one. I forget. But yeah, man, that's something. When you look at her, you can tell, man, that old lunar surface moon head ass. All right, let me see. Oh shit, I don't want to do that. Do you know I almost accidentally posted in community post a Google Hangout link? Would have had
Oh
that
man!
on here again. No, we don't want that.
But the thing is, you can block her now.
Oh, on Google Hangouts?
Yeah, I believe you can.
Oh, I didn't know that. All right, so I got one more thing. Click the link and join now. Trying to let as many people know on as many different areas that they can join the live stream now. Okay, so all right. So okay, I got that going on community posts. Let me check back one more time. Make sure everybody can see. I already got 3 comments. Dude gonna ask what can you do to help? Join the stream, nigga. That's what you can do to help. Damn. Okay. Okay, so this dude, Mr. Pirate Brain, yeah, I spoke with him yesterday. I forget. I know he was on the chat room. He said, Brian, please go to my page. I have all original music. You have my permission to use any song you want. Hey, what's up, King Sigma? I recognize that avatar from anywhere. What's up, the
Hey,
King?
what up,
King in
Brian?
the
What up,
house.
Ignit? How y'all doing, man?
Hey, man, what's going on?
Man, I figured that after last night, man, that old girl would have drove you so crazy that she was gonna cancel today.
No, man. I ain't worried about that hoe. I didn't. She is minimal to the shit that I've dealt with on YouTube. Like I said, I've been here since 2006. I done seen it all and done it all, my nigga. But okay, I think we can go ahead and get the thing started. Do the damn thing. What's up, everybody? The few people in the chat room. Thank you for joining. I know, cause it's only a few people in here, we won't have as much of a problem with the trolls. I just alerted everybody over on my main channel via video and community post to come over here. So we might get a couple of more people in the stream, maybe 20, 15, 20. But it don't matter because what I'm going to do is I'm going to download this stream when we're done, and I'm going to re-upload it over on my main channel for those who don't have a chance to make it today or don't know where to come to tonight. So, guys, this is actually the session 2 that was supposed to be part of the full live stream from last night that was abruptly interrupted by rude ass fool tube because they claimed that I played some copyrighted content. So those of you who don't know, I guess I should feel flattered that it wasn't no raggedy ass trolls that flagged my shit down. It was YouTube's computer algorithm, that goes around like a Terminator looking for people shit to fuck with. So tonight is part 2, Black Men in Single Life, analyzing what life is really like for a Marlboro man. We got Ignat Elect and we got King Sigma on board tonight. Hopefully we can get a few more brothers on, since I gave my commentary in the first 2.5 hours of the stream last night, which was actually a very good fucking stream. I got the whole fucking first session done. I really don't need any further ado to run in my mouth. We can just go ahead, get right into the second session, especially since I can't play no fucking music. So let's get into this, brothers. Black men in single life. Now we touched on it a little bit in the alternative stream last night, but we didn't really hone in on it. Um, as I'm sure all the brothers here in the chat room and the panel know, black men are under attack, unlike they have ever been attacked before, since at least Jim Crow and slavery. Our reputations are being attacked, our masculinity is being attacked, our manhood is being attacked, our freedom of speech is being attacked, our freedom of expression is being attacked from all different angles. White liberals, white conservatives, black conservatives, these bitches. There's really not other black men. These socially inept degenerates and these pussy thirsty ass simps who are sometimes the same, one and the same, and sometimes not. Okay, so really, what this is about is tonight's stream is about black men not only hearing experiences of black men that are living the single life and have been doing it for a while. I said at least over 6 months, but at least a lengthy period of time, but also focusing on what it means to be a black man and understanding that as a black man you have to learn to appreciate um, being who you are, and appreciating uh, who you are by yourself. Because nowadays, there's really no guarantee that you're going to get a lot of cooperation out of other people. Whether that's other brothers or these ragamuffin ass females that niggas be trying to cozy up to and jumping out of their skin trying to impress. Okay, because it's clear that we don't have any friends. That's clear and obvious. That don't mean that you don't have friends in real life individually, but as a collective, I mean, we saw what happened to Bill Cosby. He went from being America's dad to a fucking prison inmate at 81 years old. Yet they had this whore trick Cardi B that confesses to robbing and drugging men, and nobody has even blinked an eye or lift a pinky finger to do anything to this hoe. Okay, so Yeah, guys. So let's get started with it. Starting with you, Ignorant Elect. And I think I'm just gonna save myself for last. Are you? Let me ask you. You are living single, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And how long have you been living as a single black man?
I can't even pinpoint like exactly how long, but because I do talk to a female and I do talk to females, but
Mm-hmm.
I haven't been in like a real relationship in probably like 4 or 5 years,
Okay.
probably long.
Okay. So you still shaking down the booty, but you, from a relationship perspective, you're single, right?
Yeah,
Okay.
like just like that cameo record. If they didn't ban you from playing music, I would suggest you play that cameo single life song.
Right. Yeah, I don't know what I can get away with on YouTube anymore. But yeah, before I ask you to share your experience with us and those and the others of us on the live stream, I also want to emphasize this is a Ignorant Elect is a good example of what I meant when I summarized what tonight's live stream was going to be about when I said single life means it's different for different black men. You know, that does not necessarily mean that you have black men who are leaving women alone all the way, like myself. You know, I just have no desire or care to fuck with them at all. It could also mean men who are still, getting that poo nanny, but at the same time, they appreciate who they are. They're confident enough in their manhood to not have to have a relationship. And I'm not referring to, black men who call themselves players and pimps. I'm referring to black men who are focused specifically on what they want and their necessities in life, because these bitches, that's what they're doing. That's the attitude that they have. So we're gonna have to start having the same attitude. That chivalry piece, that husband that stand up and protect black women bullshit, that shit went out the door half a decade ago. So Ignorant Elect, why don't you go ahead and you share a little bit with us, what you've gone through, good and bad, being a single black man, and what it actually means to you to be a single black man, and do you enjoy single life?
Well, first I must say I do enjoy it. And it's like you have the freedom and the options and what I learned from a prior relationship, which I'm not gonna lie, it was kind of like I think every black man that comes on this platform, at some point in time, they had like a set moment or a moment they didn't really know how to control like their emotions. So it was a female I was with. She started acting funny. She started talking to other guys, and I was really heartbroken by it. And then like her mother got involved, was trying to get me back with her daughter and all this and that. So the mother just kept it 100 with me. Was like, and when I told her, I was like, man, I turned down all these women for your daughter and all this and that. And the mother just said you should have kept your options open. And this is coming from a woman who probably, according to her own daughter, and even according to her, is not the most mentally stable woman, but she had some type of sense to know like you should have kept your options open. You know what I'm saying? So I kind of learned from that. I'm like, wow, even someone from the opposite sex was like telling me, giving me some wisdom on some things. So from that point on, I'm just like, fuck it. I'm not going to focus on pinpoint on one woman. Now it's like some women that I do like have interest in, but I've never like really gone full fledged to pursue them or to really build a relationship because it would actually prolong certain things and goals and accomplishment I have. And a lot of these women, they're not willing to compromise or at least meet a brother halfway on certain things.
Hmm. Right. And so let me ask you this. In the time that you've been single, I know you said you couldn't put a exact time on it, but in the time that you've been single, um, have you either considered or would you be okay with, this is not me suggesting anything, this is just me trying to get a feel for, where you're at in the whole red pill, or as I call it, hashtag Marlboro man mentality. Would it bother you if you were on an island, for example, and you managed to rustle up all, like your ship broke down, you washed ashore, and you had all the necessities that you needed to live. But the one thing missing was a piece of pussy. Like, could you live like that for an extensive period of time and it not bother you, or would it bother you, honestly?
I mean, it wouldn't bother me because I think over time I also learned when I was chasing this certain female, I kind of let certain things about her consume me, and I kind of gave her a little bit too much power over me and too much dominion over everything I did. So me personally, I feel I can go through a period of time where it's like I don't really need this because I've been through periods. I wouldn't consider it a drought. Like some people consider it a drought. Like when men talk about being celibate or not having sex, it's always somebody there to shame them, like, oh, he can't get none, or so on. So he's in the drought. But I don't see it that way. And you have all these women who always critiquing us on certain things, but we can't rebut like their statements. Like they always get to have the preference. You know,
Hmm.
we men we can't have a preference to say so who we want to date.
Right.
I'm sure you know about this. Like if a black male decides I've dated all the black women in the world and it didn't work out, and I'm going to try other things. I'm gonna date a Malaysian girl or date a woman from Germany or something. All these
Hmm.
women are quick to call you a sellout, but then when it comes to a woman, they be like, oh well, she's exploring her options. You know what I'm saying? It's a beautiful thing, blah blah blah. Like you see it with the celebrities. Like I seen a picture of Dirk Nowitzki with his black wife. Everybody's applauding. You even have some men applauding this, but then you have that same man who got that feminized brain, and he's grown up in a household. You know, he's controlled and is dominated by women. So his certain thoughts, he can't really rationalize or put things in full perspective. So he'll go along with that. Then he'll be talking about somebody like what's that guy name? Can't remember his name. He played in The Wood. Try to remember his
Omar Epps,
not Omar Epps.
Tay Diggs.
Yeah, Tay Diggs. You have this same dude talking about how Tay Diggs is a coon and a sellout and all this and that. And I'm like, that shit that like bitter black women say when they see that a guy is happy with like a woman outside of his race. But you
Hmm.
know what I'm saying? Like who I don't even know people that I fraternize with and like I grew with. I don't know them personally to go around and dick police. To me, that's just like, ugh, like how could you worry about who's screwing who? Like, why are you even worried about that? And I see a lot of this on YouTube, and we
Hmm.
already know a lot of this is just pretty much pandering.
Hmm. Right. Yeah, I mean, a lot of both men, I think both men and women have a lot of um insecurities, and while some of us do mature and we grow, you have a lot of people, their minds, their brain growth is stunted, and it never gets past a certain point. And it's just they just get to the point where they stay stuck in a part of their own minds where their low self-esteem and insecurity reigns supreme. It becomes the principle of everything that they do in life. And so they're legendary for projecting all of their insecurities and their low self-esteem onto someone else. That's why you can have a black female like Cynthia G, who talks so frequently about evil albinoid devils and beta male coons and self-hating black men, and even about black women occasionally. But when you look at this woman, it's quite clear that she doesn't think very highly of her own physical appearance, let alone her being a black woman. So I want to switch over to you, King Sigma, and ask you some of the same things. Um, on the title of Black Men in Single Life, analyzing what life is really like for a Marlboro man, or Red Pillar or MGTOW, whatever you want to call yourself.
Mhm.
Um, what are your experiences as living single life as a black man? About how long, rough ballpark, have you been living it? What do you consider the pros and the cons of being a single black man? Just, what have you experienced? What have you gone through? What's your take on it?
So I guess the title that I really go by is that I consider myself to be a Renaissance man, and I've been single about a month. I've had ever since I came to the Black Manosphere last year. I was in a relationship, and I've been single about a month, but my single is a little bit different than probably what you guys would define as single. So
Mm-hmm.
some people define single as you're almost in an abstinence kind of period of your life where you're just taking time to yourself. You're not having no sex. You're not talking to no women. You're just focused on yourself. That's really like probably the truest definition of single. I guess
Mm-hmm.
more called like dating, because even when I was in a relationship, there were women that were interested in me, and they just kind of were in the background. And anytime I've ever been quote unquote single or broken with a relationship, the women that was interested in me, I never really 100% lost contact with them. And once you think about having a girlfriend or a wife, you're used to getting sex whenever you want it for the most part. And you kind of get a little bit thirsty after a breakup because you're used to getting sex at least 2 or 3 times a week, and maybe more. So when you come out of that relationship, the first week you might be all right, but then you kind of start getting a little bit thirsty, and those women in your phone that you've been waiting for, the women that you follow on social media, you kind of might find yourself on a night when you've been drinking hitting them up. So that's kind of where I'm at now. Now that it's been about a month, there's a young lady that kind of been chasing me for a while, and we started talking. So I'm in that kind of phase right now. And so for me, the benefits of being single is that I'm a very introverted person. I don't know if yourselves or those on the panel have ever taken the Myers-Briggs test, but I fall into the 3%, what they call introverted, intuitive, thinking, judging personality type. So I'm not a person that needs to be around a lot of people to enjoy myself. So I get a lot of pleasure in solitude, self-study. I travel a lot by myself. I like very independent jobs, so I don't have that need as much for the daily attention and going to a lot of social events with my girl. So some women, my personality type is best as like more of a physical type of thing, because what I'm noticing is that a lot of times when you get into a relationship, the man and the woman don't necessarily want the same thing. Like a lot of times women are looking for someone, because a lot of women may have been single for a while and they're feeling a certain way about being single. They're lonely, and it doesn't mean that they was not having sex. They will tell you that, but a lot of these women, they was having sex, but they would say, "Oh, I was by myself for like 2 or 3 years." So I'm noticing that a lot of women out here that I meet have been single, quote unquote, for 3, 4, 5 years, and so they haven't had that man there that they could take to social events, that's calling them late at night that they could talk to. All they basically been having is guys that want to dick them down. So that I'm kind of starting to understand that, especially in this current time that we're living in, that there's like this disconnect. So I kind of noticed that the things that I like about being single is that I don't have that ball and chain around me. Because some nights you don't want to talk. When you got a girlfriend or a wife, they constantly want to monitor your time. Constantly. It'd be days where you don't want to talk on the phone if y'all don't live together. It'd be some days where you don't even want to answer the phone. And she's calling you up, wondering where you at, what's going on. So that's one of the benefits of being single, is you're not having no one monopolize your time. A woman that really is invested in you, she's gonna want to monopolize your time. And we don't talk about that enough. When you're in a relationship, man, it's not, there's trade-offs. You see what I'm saying? And I noticed that one of the trade-offs that I hate to give up is my privacy. Because a lot of, my ex-girlfriends, they get angry at me because it might be like 2 or 3 days and I may not call. But it's not because I'm doing anything or I'm off with another bitch. It's because I'm a dude that I might be like, I like to just go do things on my own sometimes. And I may not want to talk. I might want to go read a book for 2 days. I might want to go watch documentaries. I might want to go to the museum by myself. But when you're in a relationship, man, women want your time. And that's the and sometimes they don't understand that outside of sex, you may not want to be around them on some days, and they don't understand that shit because they think they're so interesting. And mostly, even with the smart chicks, you're the one that's creating the situation. You're the one that's giving life to the relationship more than the female. From what because most of the time these girls that you're with, they just talk about most of the same shit. But it's you and your experience and your diversity of interest that seems to bring life to the relationship. That's at least been my experience. And then you also have the factor of women's friends. I'm noticing that more now as well. These females' friends be the main ones that'll fuck your relationship up now. I'm noticing that more. These women, the more, this is what I noticed. Okay, so if you have a long-term situation with your girl, once you get over that 1 year mark, her other friends start getting hella jealous. I didn't even notice until recently. Like the more that, that the girl will start posting pictures of you on social media because you guys are traveling, going to this, it'll be a friend that will start tugging on her and putting the negativity in there or constantly trying to get her to go travel with them. These women are always single, so think about it. If most of these girls are perpetually single and can't keep a man more than 3 months, what happens is that the women will start putting pressure on your girl, always asking her, why don't you go on a trip with us? Or why don't you come to the club with us? Or why don't you go to the restaurant? And they just continuously, and then it starts being a thing where they're prodding her like, why are you always just with your man all the time? Why you letting them control you? And then it's like so they try to make it seem like their life is more attractive to her than your life. And I think that's one of the things that's changing in the current generation. Like how you mentioned Cardi B and things like that. These women's role models are not the role models that you and I grew up with. I'm 32 years old, but since I was in a consistent relationship for a few years, I feel like I don't really have a full grasp on the current situation out here. I understand it's a hookup culture because even though I've been in a relationship, I still, I kept up to date on social media. I'm a very observant person. But one of the things I've noticed is that the role models for today's woman don't even come close to my mom's generation. These women, and I'm not talking about the ratchet poor women. And a lot of dudes get that confused. I'm talking about a lot of women that has corporate college education have the same values as Cardi B and Nicki Minaj.
Mm-hmm.
They just don't have a background story, but they are very attracted to that kind of model of behavior. So when you're dealing with a woman in today's America, man, there's a lot of things pulling on your relationship that weren't there before. Because so you got her friends, but you also got all the motherfuckers trying to fuck your girl that never was trying to before.
Right. Okay. Yeah. So basically, where you're at in your kind of like single life mode is you can live. You feel like you can live with everything by yourself except for when it comes to the sex of a woman. Is that
Yeah, it does feel
you're
like
interpreting?
yeah, it does feel like that. That for me, I haven't reached that point like you. How you say that, you're at peace where you have that control over your sex drive already. I still enjoy that comfort every few days, but outside of that, I can be by myself for weeks at a time and be cool.
Okay. So phrasing the same question that I asked Ignorant Elect. So just and just kind of picking up on what you described, if you were on that island, you would probably have a little bit of trouble, even if you had all of the reasonable accommodations. Your boat came washed ashore, but you had all the necessities to survive. But then one of the few things that you wanted, which was sex, you'd probably have a problem quelching that itch.
Yeah, as of now, but that's only because I've never been forced to do that yet. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So
I feel you.
So if I had a bad experience, like I know you described your experience to me yesterday with one of the women in your life that you almost made that big jump with, and see, I never had that kind of traumatic experience with a woman outside of my mother, and that's what I think. See, that's why I think I am the way I am, because my mom, I tell people all the time, she is what I would define as a black widow, predatory female, a destroyer of men. And she opened my eyes up at such a young age because she was so cold-hearted to men, having been married 4 times, and all of her husbands have died. And
Mm-hmm.
she's milked them dry with their
Right.
annuity, different payouts from the state that she got being married to them. So if you're young and you're seeing your mom and her sisters and her friends just milk men dry, I mean, just suck them dry, and they all celebrating it, you're not gonna be that man. So
Mm-hmm.
in a way, there's kind of a callous on my heart, in the sense that there's a place that no woman has been able to penetrate yet, because my mom at such a young age opened my eyes to that dark side of female nature. So I've never let a woman define frame for me. I always define frame. She falls in my frame. I've
Mm-hmm.
I've never fallen into a woman's frame before, so I haven't had that traumatic experience with women that a lot of guys that are in the red pill community had. I haven't,
Mm-hmm.
you know.
Right. Right. I wanted to respond to something that I saw in the chat room a little earlier. Beezy typed a lot earlier in the chat room. If you're in a relationship, you're going to carry someone else's bags that other people left for their ex. And you know that's true. I dealt with that in my last relationship, and I realized because my ex fiance, she had just gotten out of a relationship, an 8 year off and on relationship where both her and her boyfriend cheated on one another. She claimed it started with him cheating on her twice, and he was, there was domestic violence going on. He sucker punched her after she got in a heated argument with him and got in his face, confronting him ironically about one of the bitches that he was cheating on her with. And when he sucker punched her, he damaged her eye so badly she had to get reconstructive surgery twice. And in addition to that, he busted out the windows in her house. And it was a strange dynamic because learning this from her, I learned, that she was in that off and on relationship with him for 8 years. But in the relationship with me, I never threatened her. I never cheated on her. I tried, of course, to no avail to keep arguments and yelling and stuff, and confrontation between us at a bare minimum. I asked her to use diplomacy, but she's a female. I should have known that wasn't going to work. But the fact is, I treated her a lot better than her ex, and yet we couldn't stay together for two full years before I had to pull the plug. And I realized, going off of what Beezy was talking about being in a relationship, you're carrying someone else's bags. I realized, towards the end of that relationship, what has really shaped who I am today, which is that you're going to be heavier because you're going to be carrying a heavier load if you deal with a lot of these bitches in the form of a relationship. Because a lot of these females, it doesn't matter whether they're basic, it doesn't matter whether they're, highly attractive, it doesn't matter whether they're ugly, no matter what they look like, they more than likely, the average female, especially the average black female, if you see the amount of drama that they get into, like on Facebook, the average black female is going to have a hell of a lot more baggage, okay, and drama in her past than the average black male. And that includes the average degenerate black male that has been to jail. And that is a fact, okay? So whenever you get with one of these fucking bimbos, no matter how she looks, no matter how good her pussy is, you're not just getting the stuff that, you want in that relationship, the pussy, the good looks, if you're lucky, you get a chick that, is like model material, where, you can kind of take her out and show her off. You're also getting all that shit, crazy, ex-boyfriends and all the baby mama drama that came with it. You're getting all of that stuff who shaped who she is today, which is why it's so hard for people, men and women, to stay together with one another. I realized after my last relationship that, hey, I don't need this in my life. I used to tell people all the time when they asked me, do you have kids? I told them, no, I'm too much for me. I don't need no little me's running around. And I have the same mindset when it comes to these females. Why should I put myself in a situation where I have to wake up every day and not only listen to her bitching and her moaning, okay, but watch her, just laying around my crib, not doing anything but sitting on her ass watching House Horrors of Atlanta all fucking day long. And
Mm-hmm.
and then, you know, not only that, but when it gets to those points in a lot of not all relationships, but in relationships where you start getting suspicious of the whole, like, what's his name? What's her name? That Cheyenne Camille, basic looking female from New York that made that video about her getting her nigga wake up call with the white boy that she started dating. And then she was trying to become a pro black she pimp fraud after that. You know, I don't have time to be waking up with worrying about paying my bills, worrying about my health, keeping my doctor's appointments, trying to expand my business, trying to build my profits. And then as a side note, I got to deal with another human being completely that's not me. And all once you become emotionally connected to somebody, that's the great danger of a relationship. Once that plug is in that outlet, anything that they do to act a fucking fool or do something stupid, even if it's not intentionally intended to hurt you, it's going to affect you because you're emotionally attached to this bitch. See, and that's what I realized. I don't. After that 2 years of being with her, I realized very quickly I don't need this in my life. I don't. I don't need to wonder what the fuck is this suspicious text. That I'm looking at, because early on, I say about 6, 8 months into our relationship, I was seeing what she would do is my ex, she would go out to visit her mom because she was her mom's caretaker, and she had to be there whenever the social worker would come around to check, so her mom could keep getting that part of welfare. And so she'd go out there and she'd stay for a couple of months, and then she'd come back with me, because we were planning to get married. And one time she came back and I saw this suspicious text of this dude that went by the first name Thaddeus in her phone. She was in the bathroom taking a shower, and I just randomly looking at her phone, and I just caught the text completely by mistake. I had never thought to look at her phone before, and I'm
Mhm.
looking at this guy. I'm looking at this, and this dude, and she's like, "Hey, I missed you," and then the dude is like, uh he's like, "Oh, that's cause I was at work. Good night, love." And when I waited, what I did was, cause that was one of those warning signs that, like I told you guys in the alternative stream, it kind of smooths, flies past your head, and you don't wanna believe it, so you kind of keep looking forward. So I didn't confront her like most niggas would. I didn't confront her at first about that shit. I let several months go by because I wanted to study. I wanted to carefully study her. I'm one of those people, I kind of move strategically. So I wanted to, because I know if I confront her about it, if she is cheating, she's going to lie about it flat out. So I wanted to gather some more evidence. So after a few months, I was we were up on a trip. I was doing business in Chicago. Had us set up in a hotel, and then just out of nowhere, in the middle of nowhere, I just asked her about the text that I saw a couple of months earlier. I was like, "Honey, whose daddy is so and so?" And she gave me the whole spiel. I don't know. I was like, but I found him texting to you in your phone. And she told me, then she switched her story up. And, she didn't switch it up completely, but she claimed it's somebody that she met when she was applying at like this public work center that helped low income people find jobs in Los Angeles. So, over the course of the next few years, over the course of the next year, this whole thing of me trying to investigate who the fuck Thaddeus is gets deeper and deeper and deeper to the point where I realize that she's lying to me. She's outright lying to me because her story keeps changing every couple of months. Can everybody hear me? Because I just heard a strange.
No, we can hear you.
Okay, yeah. And so I realized she's lying because at first he works at the I forget what they call it, the WorkNet Center or something in LA.
Yeah.
And then she told me he works for the Brining Institute. And I call these places because whatever she's telling me, there has to be some confirmation to it. I call the Brinings Institute. I call this work center. and low income find work center, and they're saying they don't have anybody by that name. And she said, oh well, he was near retirement. And it wasn't until she started, um showing other signs of her insanity and you know infidelity or being unfaithful to me that I realized she was lying about this Thaddeus character all along. Because in the midst of investigating this text with this dude, I'm finding out that she's also talking with other guys, um, online.
Oh yeah.
And and that flashback of what David Carroll said came to my mind. And when he said, I don't give a fuck what these hoes say. I don't care if they throw up a black power fist. I don't care if they say they only date black men. I don't care if they talking about that's my boo. He said every single one of these fucking bitches are the same. And that's when it hit me like a fucking rock. I don't need no hoe. Okay, if this is what it takes to be with a female, that I have to have all this added stress of arguing and who is this nigga and who is that nigga, and you in the back of your mind something is going on, even if it's not sex yet. Something is going on, but you don't want to believe it. You don't feel like going. You don't feel like confronting her about it, but you have to. I realized after I finally changed my number on that hoe and moved on, I don't have no time for that shit. So what I do now is when I wake up in the day in every morning, I'm pretty much free. I'm free as it can be to do whatever the fuck I want to do. Now I did lie to you brothers about one little thing. And what I lied about was I haven't completely given up on satisfying myself sexually. Okay? I find ways put it like this. I'm saying this in front of everybody, okay? Because we're all grown men. I have found ways to satisfy myself sexually. Does not include dolls, does not include prostitutes, does not include masturbation. But I have found a way to satisfy myself where I don't have to have human contact with any bitch. So one of the reasons why I'm so calm, cool, and collected, unlike a lot of these brothers, like a certain brother whose name, well, wait, I ain't gonna do that. We talked about it in the alternative stream. Everybody knows who I'm talking about. But a certain brother that finds himself on certain females' live streams, living on there, debating these broads, admitting to being a sugar daddy. I don't have that, that weakness where I have my penis pulling me like a magnet towards these whores that I know that are toxic to me. Okay, because I figured out the pussy game, and I realized you don't need human pussy to, satisfy your fucking self. So, with that in mind, it's like when I wake up, because I think a lot of us Marlboro type brothers, we realized long ago that when you really take these bitches and you sit them down side by side, what are you really getting? Besides, like you said, the only reason you still fuck with females is cause of pussy. You pussy and looks. Outside of that, really think about it. And outside of maybe your mother that took care of you, what are we as men? What tangible benefits, as Cynthia G would say, what are we truly getting from women?
Would you buy a sex doll?
Huh?
Would you buy a sex doll?
Would I buy a sex doll? Yes, I would buy a sex doll. I don't have one yet, but yes, I absolutely would. I am man enough and confident enough in myself, not giving a fuck what anybody thinks, to say yes, I would buy one of those silicone sex dolls in the future. If it ever came to that point where what I'm doing now to sexually satisfy myself was not doing it for me anymore, or I did not have access to that. Yes, I absolutely would. Just like look, if Lori Lightfoot or Don Lemon can admit that they are, that they are open homosexuals, okay, and kiss their love partners, I can say that I am open to having an alternative sex partner that is is like a unauthentic version of the opposite sex as a heterosexual male. Yes, I would.
So, yeah, in that regard, I think that that's what it's come to, is that this third and fourth wave feminism has created a situation where women have fought so hard to become men in all things that they've lost that finesse game and those little things that would have made a relationship long-term tangible. Because if you're going to just base a relationship strictly off sex, well, you know, it's a situation where you're going to start getting tired of her, and she might get tired of your ass as well if the only thing she's bringing to the table is sex, because you're not going to want to keep giving her the same attention, because she's going to figure out at some point, like, damn, he only calls me when he wants some pussy. And that happens because that's what happens to a lot of females, that the man has his own interests outside of her. And since there's no children, a lot of times, no other things going on, and it becomes just about sex, then, you know, at some point, she may want more. She may want you to be more of the guy that's going to keep going to all these different social events all the time, and you may just not want to, and that can cause problems. So I think that a lot of women have kind of backed themselves into a corner, and that's where a lot of their frustration is coming from, because men have taken them up on their call that they don't need men, but they never figured out the fact that, well, besides sex and having children, men don't need you either. Because a lot of dudes now, I've talked to guys that are younger than me that are in their 20s that are getting like what do you call that when you get your stuff snipped?
It's not neutered. That's the
Vasectomy,
animal
vasectomy, right?
Vasectomy, yeah. Vasectomy.
A lot of dudes are getting vasectomies in their 20s and early 30s now, so they're making that decision that they don't want to have kids. So right there, you have a growing population of men who strictly want sex. See, me, I'm at a point now where I would love to have a son. That's always been a dream of mine, is to pass on my knowledge. And I think it would be just awesome to raise a son in that critical thinking mindset. But I'm going to be honest, man, you know, dealing with these women that I deal with, I don't know if I want to make them a mother of my child.
Yeah. And let me say this to everyone in the chat room. I'm glad you brought that up, brother. And I want to ask the other brother, Ignorant Elect, about that as well. This, for a black man, this time period that we live in right now is the most dangerous time period to try to bring a child into this world. Okay, unless you are 100%, and you can never be completely 100%, but unless you're 100% confident about the bimbo that you're screwing and planning to knock up and marry and have a kid with, I would not risk bringing a child into this world. That's another reason why I stopped fucking with these hoes, because I realized I didn't want to mess up and wind up getting one of them pregnant, and then that's a lifetime stressor there. You know, your kid is going to be your kid for life. It don't matter whether you live to be 100 years old and they're 70 years old. That's still going to be your baby. You know what I'm saying? That's definitely me, as a free enterprise black man that runs my own business, that wakes up every day, set my own schedule, take off when I want to take off, go on vacation when I want to go on vacation, do basically whatever the fuck I want to do. You know, I don't need not only no ball and chain, I don't need no bag hanging off of me that's called Junior. You know what I'm saying? Especially knowing that a lot of these females, these black females in particular, you can't trust to be good mothers. And God forbid, you know, it's almost guaranteed that whoever you're with now is likely not going to be till death do you part, even if you marry him. Right. So God forbid y'all break up. You got a kid. That child is your child forever. Yep. Okay. Forever. Whether they die prematurely or whether they live to outlive you, you know, you're always going to be emotionally, like, you can emotionally disconnect from a bitch. You know, all day, every day. You know, it might hurt you if you were with her for a long period of time and you really have feelings for her. But that child of yours, that's a lifer. And that's one of the things that, you know, I can't, you know, with the way things are nowadays, I just don't see myself doing. I just don't see myself going there. I just don't.
And then adding on to what you said as well. See, here's the thing about having a child now. We know now, as red pill aware men, that's not your child.
Yep.
Because here in America, you already mentioned the fact that relationships, the average relationship in America only lasts 3 months. And now the average marriage is down to about 3 years for those under 45.
Yeah, it's scary, man.
So overall, the average marriage lasts 8 years. That's including all the oldest people who have been married for like 40 years and all of the younger married people. So we can see that soon the average marriage in the West will only be about a year or two. So it's like when you have this child with this woman, even if you marry her, based on the numbers, it's almost a guarantee y'all relationship's not going to last more than 5 years.
Yep.
And then you got to deal with the court situation of, like, let's say that you live in one state, she lives in another state, and even if you guys have shared parenting, that ain't gonna work because it's gonna be more a situation where you come get your child for the summer, but she got the child most likely all year, and then whatever she got going on, that's gonna have a bigger impact on the kid. So I guess that's where my mind is at right now, because I do feel like I'm at that age now where if I'm gonna have a child, I want to have it in my 30s. And I don't want to wait until my 40s to have it, because I figure if I wait till my 40s, I'm just not going to have it. And I probably won't protect even myself or something, because I want to have it in my 30s. I don't want to wait too long. So, but I'm kind of finding that, okay, I just got out of a relationship that lasted a few years. And I was thinking, well, what if her and I had just had a kid? You see? And then what about all my other relationships I had? Those women ain't here no more. So what if I would have had a kid with every one of those women? None of the relationships would have lasted more than 5 years. So I'm starting to try to figure that out myself.
Right. You know, and it's interesting hearing you talk about that as a young brother. I'm sorry, how old are you again?
32.
Okay, so you're a year behind me. There's two parts of me when it comes to children. And there's a part of me, unfortunately, because of the current black situation, that's ever shrinking, getting smaller and smaller. I no longer have a natural desire to want children. I used to, back when I was in simp mode. And I'm not saying that I wanted kids simply because I was a simp, but back, when I was basically living my life by traditionalist standards. And, I did, as a good black man that had a good square head on his shoulders, that was something that I desired. But as I got older and I saw how these females really were, and, I date, and fucked with a few of them, and the rabbit hole got deeper and deeper, that natural desire started to leave me. But there's still another side of me that, wants to remind me of, the consequences of being selfish. Now, my parents, they only have two children, myself and my sister, both had by the same parents. My mom and dad, they've been married for over 30 years. My father, he just literally signed his retirement papers today. He works for the Water Reclamation District of Greater Chicago, and he's set to have his retirement party on April 18th. So I got to go up to Chicago and celebrate that with him. We're supposed to be going on a hunting trip, and I look at my father and I realize that he is the last generation of black man that will likely ever marry black women long term. And he's also the last generation of man, period, that will be able to hold down a job and be sort of married to a job about as long as he's married to his wife, long enough at least to raise his kids, put them through college, and get them out of the house. And so, beside all of that, I also realized that, if I don't, because my sister, she's a she's a Hollywood actress. I really wish some of you brothers I'm gonna email, because I know when I say that people roll their eyes, and that's not saying much, as people know what Hollywood is about. But I know I can't put her name out there, because if I put her fucking name out there, people who don't like me are gonna try to fuck with her just to get to me. But she is so focused on her career that she has no desire to have children. I've spoken with her. She is in her late 20s. She has not had any kids. Okay. And so I realized that if I don't have any kids and my sister doesn't have any kids, then the bloodline of our family stops with me and my sister.
Yep.
There will be nobody after us. And, in a way, even though I'm a full-blown Marlboro man, that's kind of scary. It's less scary now. But I think to myself, I just have to live with that. And I've talked with my parents about it. And they say, my mom, who kind of, she she kind of surprised me, caught me off guard. She said, she doesn't have a problem if me or Ariel doesn't have kids. My dad always saying, "All right, you ain't missing nothing," and I
Oh,
don't
for
know
real?
how. Yeah, the good thing is my parents don't seem to be overly bothered about. How some people's parents, they're like, "Oh, we're expecting grandchildren. Where are grandchildren at?" And trying to pressure their kids to get them grandbabies. And the reason why older people do that to their children is because they want to re-experience that, having a newborn child in their arms, like back when they had, their children. That's why they want grandbabies. But for, even though my parents aren't, pushing the idea, and neither me nor my sister are crazy about the idea, not saying that we won't, I realized that there will be nobody else after our bloodline. But there's another larger part of me that, as I get older and I start to have complete disdain for this world, um, that we're all living in, day by day, it just grows.
Mhm.
The animosity that I have because of the shit that I've gone through and continue to go through, and see how people treat me and other people, I say to myself, maybe it's fine. Maybe the world doesn't deserve my fucking seed. Maybe that's what it is. It's undeserving of my seed, being spread and produced into this fucking world. It's undeserving. So, at this point, I don't know how I'm gonna feel down the road, but
Mhm.
right now, if my bloodline was cut off, like if I died tomorrow, and my sister went through her life and didn't have any kids, I'd be okay with that. It looks like my family members, at least for right now, are okay with that. So we're a very unorthodox type of family in that sense, even though we were raised, kind of like in the traditional um upper middle class American manner. So let me ask ignorant intellect about that. What as far as being a single black man, I know you said you were still dating and talking to some females. What do you feel about, in this day and age, being a black man and fatherhood? Do you want children? Do you see yourself having children down the road? What's your whole take on that? Hello?
I think he
Is
stepped away
ignorant?
for a minute.
Yeah, he might have stepped away. Okay, so let me shoot the question back to you, King Sigma, even though you've already brought it up. Now, I know you said that you are getting to the point where you want kids, but you also brought up how dangerous it is for, especially as a black man, to bring kids into this world with all the crazy stuff that's going on. Well, I guess I can't ask you that question direct because you've already given your take on it, but what what kind of advice would you give for a brother in your age group that is, thinking about starting going from single life to trying to pursue somebody, or already talking to somebody, to try to not just fuck but have a family with? What kind of advice would you give them?
Man, I think that you as a man have to get your house in order completely before getting into a relationship, and you have to really be honest with yourself if you really are prepared for the emotional investment and the time and all the energy that you have to give to a woman, because women can get fucked all day long if they wanted to when they're single, but when women like that get into a relationship, they're looking for something outside of sex for the reason that they get into the relationship, because
Hmm.
when they're single, they got thousands of dudes that they got sex with. So when they're trying to get into a relationship, it's usually for social reasons or to do things that they weren't able to do when they're single. So as a man in this day and age, you know, it's critical that you really be have your house in order. I'm talking about as far as having your credit score in order. If you have certain goals, that you accomplish those and you put those before any woman that you bring into your life. If you have emotional hangups from old relationships, or whatever, go deal with those emotional issues, because one of the things that we're having now, we're one of the most drugged civilizations in history now. Women are having, they're more dependent on mental disorder drugs than men, but men are close behind. That's why you have so many men committing suicide. So I think it's important that we have the knowledge of what it takes to have healthy relationships. So the first thing you have to do is make sure that you're not bringing a bunch of baggage to the relationship. Why? Because it's going to allow you to see her through a clearer lens as well. So you're going into the relationship with all your shit in order, so she has to step up to the plate. But my problem is that I don't even know how to do long-term relationships anymore because of this internet shit. And what I mean is that I've met too many women where I see how many dudes that they have coming at them.
Mm-hmm.
It's like you, no matter how good you are as a man, she's always getting someone shooting that shot in a way that it never could have before. I mean, it's constant, 24 hours a day. So if you're dealing with
Right.
it, you don't have to tell her.
Especially if she's attractive.
And there ain't no reason for you as a man that got his shit together to be talking to no woman that's unattractive. See, that's my default thing. Like, I don't believe as a man in talking to an unattractive woman. Why? I'm attractive. She got to look better than me. I don't want a woman that's uglier than me. Period. I'm not interested in that. I want a woman that looks better than me. Something to come home to that looks better than me. So, in my opinion, with the way that women are able to like use hypergamy, monkey branching, or whatever, I don't even know what a relationship long term looks like going forward after this year because of everything that's going on in the world. You were talking about Cardi B earlier, but I felt that the situation with Lauren London, Nipsey Hussle, Kodak Black, and the response from the general community was more insightful of where we're at than even just the Cardi B, because that's the kind of dating pool that they've created where Cardi B, Lauren London are the spirit, the feminine spirit that we have in America now. I'm looking at old boy Offset. How can you make a woman like that your wife, brother? I just can't in my mind imagine making the wife of my children like a Cardi B or Nicki Minaj. I can't. Right. I just can't see it. I can't do it, bro. I don't want that. So I think that as a man, you have to really make sure you have your house in order and that you're not bringing no baggage. Do some traveling before you get back into a long-term relationship and understand the reality of the current dating market, not what you were raised on by your parents, not what you saw with your grandparents. Because see, I saw marriage through my older relatives, but I've also seen divorce through my mom, and her relationship lasted about an average of 7 to 8 years. So I just guess I'm just very realistic about it. And I don't even know if long-term relationship is really going to be a thing here in America going forward anymore.
Right, right. You brought up that fool that called himself Marion Horry B, and that's interesting because that is a prime example of a video that I made quite a while ago, that I believe I entitled the new age social acceptance of the socially unacceptable. Okay. And more recently I exemplified that when I made the two-part video series promoting the image of Black women, where I took the example of Claudette Colvin, who was a 15-year-old Black girl back during the start of the civil rights movement in Montgomery, Alabama, that the NAACP was interviewing and considering her as a candidate to launch their campaign, their media propaganda campaign against the white segregationists. The only problem was she was a 15-year-old little hoe that was pregnant with a white man's kid. Okay. Whereas, the reason why they didn't use her and instead used Rosa Parks, among other things, was because she was an underage girl that was pregnant, not married, and had a man's child. I don't know necessarily if it was just because it was a white man's child, but the fact is she was an underage girl that was pregnant with a kid, and she was raised in a church, but she wasn't married. Okay, that was something that was frowned upon not only in the Black community. They didn't use her because that was frowned upon in white America as well. You're going to bring a 15-year-old Black girl who then got knocked up by some dude, is obviously a hoe, and put her as the representative to launch your movement, as the symbol for, civil rights. See, back then, even though people were doing a lot of ratchet shit behind closed doors, they had a certain moral code that they lived by publicly. Okay, that's why Martin Luther King and his deviancy was hidden for so fucking long. Where you fast forward to nowadays, and these pastors like that one that recently died of cancer a couple of years ago, their shit is out in the open, and they're still being crowned as kings on sitting on top of thrones and shit, and being forgiven, and people are looking right past their deviancy. And I compared that Claudette Colvin story with fast forwarding it today, and you see Cardi B, where she's an admitted stripper, a known whore who just admitted to victimizing black men by drugging and robbing them. Part of the same thing that sent Cosby to prison. And yet,
can you guys hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
yeah,
I'm
we
sorry
can hear
about
you, brother.
that.
Oh, no.
Yeah, I tried to come back in and I was trying to answer your question. I was wondering what's going on. But
It's no problem.
The,
Go ahead.
the question you were asking me earlier, and I'm so sorry about this. You
No,
said,
no problem.
do I plan on having? You said, do I plan on having kids? And
Well, yeah. Let me ask the question. So, what I was asking essentially was because this is something that King Sigma had brought up. Not only do you want kids, but what do you think about being a father in this day and age? Being a black father in America, in westernized society in this day and age, what does that mean for a black man? Would you want kids? And if you did want them, or if you didn't want them, what kind of advice would you give to brothers that are also kind of considering that and weighing their options as to whether or not they want to be a black father?
well, it's kind of ironic you asked me that because about a few hours ago, a friend of mine, he had called me and asked me. Um, he said, "What is more straight?" I forgot the exact question. He was like, what is more stressful?" Or something. He asked me, marriage or having a kid. And you're not married. He said, like I told him it depends on like the circumstance. Everybody doesn't believe in jumping into a marriage. Me personally, over time, like I would like to get married, but I wouldn't just jump into a marriage based upon my current circumstance and my current financial status because I know it's a lot that goes into that. So yes, of course, I would like to have kids someday and continue my legacy, but I think the thing that would be like the obstacles that we're going through right now, as far as black men, it's like we can't even teach. For example, if I was to have a son, it's like if I was to teach him certain things and he would go out into society with that, based upon principles that I was brought up with, he'll be seen in the wrong because we live in such a twilight zone where everything backwards. It's like bizarro land. Like bad is good, good is bad. You got the LGBT, whatever they call community, the LGBTQ community, trying to force themselves amongst children, trying to teach them, oh, it's nothing wrong with this, it's not wrong. And they're actually encouraging and promoting that. And like with me personally, I would like my legacy to go on. So if I was to have a junior, I would like him, what I'm saying, to continue this legacy. So that's me personally as far as that. And I almost had like a pregnancy scare not too long ago, probably several months ago. So like I've been there and done that. And the girl at first, I didn't really mind it, and she started to get a little crazy and stuff with it. So I'm like actually glad that didn't even go through.
Wow. What you were saying about that is interesting because you're talking about the overall culture. And I was thinking about the fact that Democratic National Committees, they nominating committee, they have Cardi B as the headliner. Even before this whole thing broke about the dirty shit she did, at a minimum, everyone knew that she was a whore. So the Democratic National Committee would make a whore the headliner. And I'm talking about before the robbing, before the drugging, and before the raping. Because Brian talked about the drugging and robbing, but people seem to be overlooking the fact that she had transsexuals rape those men.
Yeah, yeah, she bragged about it.
She bragged about it, and no one's talking about that. See, everyone's ashamed to talk about that, but we're talking about disgusting. And the Democratic National Committee people chose her to headline the Democratic National Convention, even without knowing the information. You knew that she was a dirty whore. So what I'm saying is that this culture is the most wicked and defiled of my lifetime. There were always people living alternative lifestyles. There were always people doing dastardly things, but never was that a mainstream culture fall into the black hole of wickedness. A whole society cannot be wicked at the same time. That's called anarchy. That's supposed to be alternative lifestyles. That ain't supposed to be promoted as a norm and a standard for repetition. But that's where we're at right now. And I just like, that's what like you, man. I'm actually afraid to bring a child into the society right now. And because it's like the fact of trying to raise a child in a balanced situation is harder than ever, because these people that support these social justice warriors are giving them more and more power to exercise more and more control over your private life.
Yeah, and they dictate that.
Oh no, I was gonna actually, on the note of what King Sigma was saying, I wanted to ask you, because I know you had mentioned that you want your legacy as a man to continue, but what do you? Because me and King Sigma were talking about this before you came back. I said, what do you think about being a black man? Because I know you were saying what would happen if you had a son, and if you raise him, he would also be being raised by other, outside influences. But what if, a lot of black men are being separated from their children, including their sons? And this is one of the great risks and fears that I have as a black man, and a lot of free-thinking black men has, that your child will be taken away from you, or you'll have to go through a whole court case rigmarole. You remember the last stream, I believe it was the last stream that I had. I was talking with a excuse me, I was talking with a brother that was he was, I think the theme of the stream was about partially about black men in custody battles with the mothers of their children. Have you considered that as far as having children? Because that's a huge risk, especially for black men. Not as much, yes, for white men too, but not as much for white men as black men, because we're not respected as black men. And they do anything to try to throw us off of our, throw us off balance. What do you think about that? Have you considered that? Hello?
You asking me?
Yeah, ignorant elect, I'm sorry. Yeah.
Sorry about that. I kind of got sidetracked. Now, can you reiterate that again? I'm sorry about that.
Yeah, I was asking, I know you had brung up that you wanted your legacy to continue having a son.
Yes.
But given the atmosphere that we live in today, you remember my last stream I did about 3 weeks ago, where I had brothers coming on, that were in running custody battles, or had been in custody battles with the mother of their children, trying to separate them from their kids. And I've made some videos about some horror stories of black women that really shouldn't have had custody of the children. Some of them had felony convictions, as child sex offenders. And I was saying, a lot of people aren't staying together. That's one of the things that me and King Sigma were talking about. So have you considered the possibility that you may not even get a chance, unless your pockets are really deep, that you can throw, lawyers at this bitch, considering that a lot of people aren't staying together, and the female by default usually gets custody of the child unless the man really fights for his right. Have you considered, the nightmare that you may not get a chance to be around and raise your son the way you want to raise him?
Yeah, I've thought of like every possibility of that. I've thought about the woman that I would like to have it with, but then like I said, like I didn't think this certain female was gonna act like that. Then she started acting all crazy and all this other stuff. I didn't see that at first, so like so you see you certain things like time reveals a lot of things that we don't understand at the moment. So over time, it really reveals a lot about people, and you know, I don't know. It's just like real crazy because you have brought up some good points about like how the system always is in favor of the woman in most cases,
Right.
no matter like where she's at financially, if she's mentally stable, they don't even consider any of that. It's just always a bias of well the how society is. As far as y'all talk about a matriarchal society and how
Mhm.
the women, that's what I was just kind of saying earlier, like how they get to get a preference, but men, we can't get a preference and a choice in anything. You know what I'm
Right.
saying?
Hmm?
We can't
Right.
we can't like anything without being criticized or ridiculed. But Serena Williams can date somebody that's racist and nobody says anything. But if a black man does that, not saying it's right, it's not right either way. But if a black man does it, he's a coon. His mama black. Of course, we know his mama black. But you don't never hear anybody saying, "Oh, well, your father black. You shouldn't be talking about black men." You don't never hear that coming up.
Nope. I
Right.
was
It just,
something else, man. As you were talking, in regards to when you're in a relationship as well, that I noticed that at this age now I think more about that I didn't used to think about. My last
yeah,
girl, I had problems with her family, man, because her mom was cool, but her father was like a bum, and
yeah,
and she's great. She got her shit together. She's in the legal field. She's doing great, but her father was this dude that was always bumming her for money and shit. And I used to think to myself that if her and I was to get married or something like that, we would have to deal with this motherfucker always coming and asking us for money all the time. I hadn't. So now I be thinking about things like that. When you're in a relationship, you got to look at just yourself, her family. And here's another issue I'm noticing as well. Every woman I've dated for the last 10 years has had tremendous student loan debt.
yeah. Like with most of us in America.
Yeah, an attorney that I was dating, she had damn near $200,000 of debt.
Wow.
The other
Mm.
girls I've dated have had an average of the lowest. My last girl, she had 10, and she actually paid her student loan debt off during the time we were together. But before that, I knew a woman that had $50,000 of student loan debt, not counting their credit card. So I'm like, there's so many more factors that when you're getting into a long-term relationship in 2019 that you have to consider, man, because these women, they come with a lot more baggage than just themselves. Like I used to think to myself, this dude, her dad would always just be calling her, asking her for money and shit like that. And this was a dude who wasn't even in her life like that when she was growing up. And all of a sudden, he thinks that she owes him, something. And so I'm like, if I marry this woman, this dude is gonna be calling her up for money because of my money, thinking that how they'll be like, oh, you got it, right? So you should give it to them, and you have to consider that too. So I know for me, in my future relationships, I'm looking for a very specific kind of woman now.
Yeah. So let me ask you a question. Like when you had like brought that to her attention, did she try to make it seem like you were like downplaying the situation or being like any type of negative about it, even though you were being like objective and honest with her about what was going, like you don't really know your father and all this and that, because some women be like, oh, you're shaming, you're being shameful, you should give them a chance, you're being judgmental.
She understood because see, I'm a very persuasive individual, right? I'm very persuasive when I want to be, and I make strong arguments to a woman in a way that she can understand, and she understood it because it's only fair that a man consider these kind of things. What amount of responsibility do you want to take on outside of yourself and her? You got to think about this stuff, man. When you marry a woman, you have a kid with her, you're married and invested in her family as well as she in yours.
Yeah, I agree with you. I agree with you on that. That's how a lot of people in my family see it. They see it once you're married or you have a kid, like you're their family. Even if we stop dating, if I start dating a girl, they'll see somebody at like the grocery store and talk like they still family or something. But the girl that I was talking about was getting all crazy and stuff. she would consider any type of dissenting opinion. She would see it as negativity, or if it was something she didn't want to hear, or something she would consider it negativity.
I know
If some,
exactly what you're talking.
if somebody was critiquing something,
Oh,
but
oh,
but she would do it all the time, and I'd be like, well, how can you tell me I'm negative? But you and at first I started to really think, well, I had the girl. Remember the girl I mentioned earlier? I talked to prior. She was kind of saying the same thing this girl was saying, but she didn't say it in the same way. She was like, well, you're very smart, you're articulate, you just are very opinionated.
oh,
So
shit. I know.
I took that as I started to think. I was like, it has to be something wrong with her. Like it can't be me. It can't be me being negative. It has to be her because she doesn't like to be corrected. She don't like to hear an opinion of dissent. She wants it, and I'm like, I'm not about to kiss your ass and
Oh,
do or say what you want. It's not going down like that. Tell me,
dang.
so well, you the most negative person. I'm like, well, I'm the realest nigga you probably ever been with too.
Yep. And
So
see, I was talking about that earlier, exactly what you just said. When you're dealing with these women in today's culture, you can't tell them nothing. If you counter anything they say, they don't have an answer for it, they do exactly what you said. They'll say, "Oh, why you being negative?"
Hmm. And that's another reason why I stopped fucking with these bitches, because that I cannot begin to describe to you guys the ridiculous fucking arguments that I found myself in, where I would hit this chick with logic, common sense. I would try to reason with her. I would try to level with her. But the one thing I came to learn is with almost every bitch I was with, it's always about the way the female feels.
Yep.
It doesn't
yeah,
matter. It doesn't matter if 1 + 1 = 2. If her feelings feel that 1 + 1 should equal 3, even though she knows it equals 2, then it's 3. No matter what you say, no matter what you present to her, it equals 3. And so I got to the point where I realized females don't reason like men, like a lot of men.
I'm not.
I'm not talking about degenerates.
I
I'm
know what
talking about real men. Right. And
yeah,
so I got to a point where it's like, man, look, I'm not gonna be getting my blood pressure up, stressed. I'm scratched because you'll find yourself, and I know you brothers went through this too. You'll find yourself scratching your head like, what the fuck is wrong with this hoe? Like that, because you're trying to realize how is she not understanding? Like this ain't like just me saying like, oh, you should think this way because I think this way. This is common sense shit. These are facts. Why is she acting like she don't understand this? And what people don't understand is like those brothers that be going on Cynthia G or Renaissance Woman or any of those other bimbos live streams is they do understand what you're saying and what you're saying makes sense. They do understand that. They just don't want to submit to you.
I got a good example of what you're saying. With my ex, I remember this particular argument, and this was our relationship started to go down south because we just started arguing a lot, man.
Yep.
Because
Same with me.
we
Yep.
were arguing about. I remember one day we were arguing about illegal immigration back in the fall, and I was telling her how I don't support illegal immigration, but I do support legal immigration. Now she gets to tell me, well, what about the kids that they're putting in the detention centers? And all? I said, hold on. That's not what I said. I said I don't support illegal immigration because America needs to take care of their own first. There's so many homeless veterans on the streets. There's so many people struggling. And if we didn't have all these illegal immigrants here, we could put a lot of these homeless people to work. We could put a lot of these black men to work. Things. I'm just giving her basic facts. And she's like,
yeah.
no. And so I told her I support legal immigration where the government makes a determination that they need certain skills that they can't get within America, then they open up their borders. And I was like, but illegal immigrants don't have any right to be here. And she just could not accept. So she said, it's the same thing. I'm like, boom.
I would like to chime in on that because like a lot of black folks don't make sense when it comes to that. Because I constantly every day hear black folks talking about, man, we can't get no jobs. It's because the Migos taking up the job and they taking up the space. But then they'll go be talking, fuck Donald Trump. He
Yeah.
trying to kick illegals. I'm like, well, if anything, even if you don't like Trump, he's actually doing you a favor.
And half these niggas can't even tie their own shoestrings, let alone fill out a job application to flick burgers. They want to blame that shit on Mexicans. Come on, son. How many of these niggas are actually looking for jobs. They sitting up on these damn Section 8 welfare queens and shit. And the only reason a lot of these Section 8 welfare queens are fucking getting jobs is because after Bill Clinton signed that legislation, they punk lazy asses have to get to work at least part-time, going to school or flipping burgers in order to keep that welfare money coming in.
But that's my point. See, what would happen if you remove all those illegal immigrants, you would also have to shrink the welfare state, because what will happen, those jobs will have to be worked, and those people won't have that option because they will cancel all those programs if you don't work, like you just mentioned. So that is the other side of the illegal immigration. You can't have one without the other. You can't remove all these illegal immigrants but still have cats sitting up on the Section 8 couch not working. That ain't gonna work. So you gotta, if you remove all those illegal immigrants, you're going to have to put everyone to work. That would be the most ideal situation because it creates healthier communities. But my whole point for bringing up that story was that we would have conversations like this, just like I could talk to you men like we're talking. We can disagree. You counter me, I counter you, and you let everyone else, man, you just say, okay, cool. You think that I think that ain't how a woman will be. She will be like, you're being negative, just like Ignis said. Like when they don't have an answer for something that you say to them, even though it's true, they go straight to the shaming language. You're being negative or some dumb shit. That's why I say I don't know if going forward, long-term relationships is going to be a norm. Because see, when you just fucking a woman, you don't have these kind of problems because you're not making that kind of emotional, mental investment in her.
Right, you're not emotionally connected. Yeah.
But when you have a woman that you're like, okay, this is my woman, and you're spending this amount of time, you're not going to be able to hide your political views from her. You're not going to be able to hide your philosophies from her. Because I know something I was very ashamed of for years is the fact I used to dumb myself down to get pussy. And I was very ashamed for that shit. And I told myself I would never do that again. I used to be a guy who, to fuck the women that I found the most attractive, I would just dumb myself down on purpose around them. And then I felt bad about it. Like, damn, why am I dumbing myself down for this dirty ass bitch when I could be myself and just find a woman that is attracted to that? So that's the difference between short-term and long-term relationships, man. When you're in the short term, I had a side piece that was what, 4 years, 5 years, and we was never in a relationship, but we just love having sex with each other, and we never had a conversation longer than 30 minutes in 5 years.
Yeah, let me just let it all the moderators. I made about more than half a dozen of you brothers moderators. I don't know if you're aware of it. I know Roger Spice is. He's my most active moderator. Thank you, brother. You're
I know Roger.
on top of it. Yeah. Yeah, brothers. It's obvious that my chief stalker, Penny Proud, is in the chat room right now. She's came in here with like 3 different accounts. Roger Spice, and forgive me if I'm wrong, he seems to be the only one booting this bitch. Please, all the rest of y'all that I made moderators, help Roger out. Okay? Make sure that this female is not able to come into this live stream and disrupt shit, because clearly there's something mentally wrong with this chick. And Penny Proud, since I know you listening, if you wanted to make your presence known, well, I made your presence known for you. Go on BitChute and fucking Black Avenger and fuck with that video that I just made about your trifling ass. Anyway, back onto this. I want to ask both of you brothers, now what is starting with you, Ignorant Elect, as far as being your version, because like I said, every brother has the different levels where they're at black men, and I understand that a lot of black men are not where I'm at, you know, where they found an alternative to satisfy themselves sexually, because, you know, look, sexuality is natural. It's part of nature. It's part of who we are. You know, that's what the creator wanted, you know, no matter what you call him by. That's what he intended, for us to use our sexual organs to rub together to reproduce offspring. So, you know, sex, it's natural for a person to desire sex. What is important, though, is that a man, and especially a black man in this day and age, can disconnect, you know, what his little head is thinking, or at least not necessarily disconnect it, but make sure that his big head, you know, his brain is doing the key lead thinking. It's taking the lead in how he's choosing to live his life and not his little head. That's why I asked both of you brothers respectively, where would you be on that island? See, I use that island scenario because I know if you put 100 different brothers on that island, you're gonna get almost 100 different answers. Okay, where I'm at in my life is if you put me on that island, just so long as I have something to drink, something to eat, I'd like, maybe some internet, some TV, I don't know where the fuck I'm gonna find electricity to plug a plug into, but so long as I have shit like that, I can live without a bitch. I can live without a bitch for years. I am very confident in myself, even though I've only been single for about not quite a year and a half. But it's coming up on a year and a half that I can be single for another 5 to 10 years and not even break a sweat. But I understand a lot of brothers aren't at that point. So let me ask both of you brothers respectively, you ignorant elect, starting with
Yes.
you. What is I didn't ask this question directly last time, so I'm gonna ask it directly this time. Um, you as a single black man, and from your understanding of what it means to be single, what are for you the pros, meaning the strengths, and the cons, meaning the weaknesses of being a single black man?
Well, the pros is I don't have to hear that I'm negative 24/7 shit for being honest. Like, you know what I'm saying? If you ask me an honest question, you didn't know. Going back to what we were just saying, like the pros is I don't have to hit the nagging.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have to always, because women gonna always want you to buy them something they don't really need. And I got space to think. I don't have somebody constantly on my back trying to tell me what I'm not instead of where I can be and the potential. And I've ran into a few women like that, like the girl that I was talking to or whatever. She knew I had potential because I'd be like, well, if I'm so negative, why would you continue to talk to somebody? You said I'm the most negative person you know. You know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying? So she must have seen some great quality in me. And I notice a lot of these women, they can see it, they just can't handle truth. So I guess that's
Mm-hmm.
like the pros to it. And
Mm-hmm.
I guess, well, the con, I mean, I don't know. I don't know if
Hey,
I'm not. I don't really even know how to answer that. I guess I answered everything in one
okay.
just with that. But far as the being on the island thing, like I guess in the next 5 to 10 years, I guess I really fully understand when David Carroll was saying something about if a woman with a fat ass laid naked across his bed and she was in the road,
Yeah.
he'd take those cigars over that woman. At first I'm like, man, he crazy. You know what I'm saying? Because I was still a little bit young. I just turned 30 this year, and I started watching David Carroll probably about 5 or 6 years ago. I don't know when somebody sent the video to me,
Mm-hmm.
sent him talking about Barack Obama. And at first I'm like, this guy's crazy because I was still on that plantation thinking that bullshit. So I
Mm-hmm.
was like, this guy's insane. What are you talking about? Then I started actually listening to him, and I'm like, he's making a lot of sense. And I can't really
Mm-hmm.
refute any of his arguments. So I understand now why he says that. But still, me being younger, I go to like lounges from time to time, and sometimes women enticing, and certain things women do, they're gonna want your attention, like by all means, and they're gonna try to get your attention. If you're not paying attention to them, they'll let themselves be known, and then we already know how they're quick to shame you if you acting like you still don't want them when they're in front of you. But we can't call that sexual assault. We can't call that anything because
Right.
they get to dictate that. Like in the Cardi B case, they talking about some, oh well, Cardi B didn't rape the guy. I'm like, she still had sex with the guy when he was intoxicated. Isn't that rape? You know what I'm saying? When he was
Mm-hmm.
on that pill, isn't that rape? You know what I'm saying? And I'm not justifying Bill Cosby if Bill Cosby did that, which a lot of that shit don't even sound even believable to begin with. A guy in the '60s or '70s doing this to white women, like, come on now, like that don't even sound like logical. Like, and people went along with that bullshit.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, a prime example of what you're saying about how, it's never sexual harassment when women do what they do. Like, Cardi B, that wasn't, victimizing a man. That we had this hoe in here, and I'm not gonna keep bringing it up, but Penny Proud. obviously she's stalking me and harassing my audience, right?
Oh, she's
Now,
back
I
again.
don't. Right? Yeah. She's been here for the last half an hour, and she's coming here with at least 5 or 6 different accounts. I got all of my moderators on top of this bitch, keeping her down. Somebody mentioned that she must have 100 accounts. Now, imagine. I just want to paint a picture for y'all to show y'all the hypocrisy of the society that we live in. Now,
Yeah,
Penny Proud, she's a smaller troll, irrelevant, but someone on a larger scale. Say if you or me or one of our followers went into, like, say, a Crystalline Cares and Cynthia G or Paris Milan's chat room, and their moderators kept booting us off, but we kept coming, or one of our followers kept coming. It kept booting us off. We keep creating emails, we keep creating accounts, and keep going on there. That would be perfect fuel for the likes of a Nyla Says or a Chrissy or any one of those whores to say, "See, this is how black men are. They can't live without with some black woman rejecting them. This is
yeah,
why they be
yeah.
paying,
And you
be
know
paying them
another
down
thing that
food."
and you know another thing they do. They always like to promote their pussy too. Try to make it
Right,
seem like, oh, they like, oh, see these how you said with the rejection and all this, and then they be like, yeah, yeah, he can't handle this, or they add some extra shit, try to make it seem like they got the best pussy on earth, the most powerful and
right.
compelling mind control. You know what I'm saying? I'm
Yeah,
like, nobody is not even into y'all women like that. Like Perez
right.
Milan, like I had left a comment on her video about a few weeks ago, and I was like, I said honestly, you have a lot of good valid points in this video, but I have to agree with Brian Salam on certain things. It's like you try a little bit too hard to try to prove that you down with brothers, and it's like I can see right through that now, because
Hmm.
at first I wasn't really going through her catalog like that, but then when she was all trying to be down talking about some the Hawaii the white women and all like how she was saying, and I was like, okay, I see what all these guys that are coming at her what they saying now, because she wasn't doing all this like initially when I first went onto her channel. But now she's trying a little bit too hard to make it seem like she's down with the brothers and the pro blackness and speaking on stuff. Now she does have some valid points, but you know what I'm saying, who knows? She could have regurgitated that from somebody else that's a little bit smarter than her. I don't know, but I don't even know if she even had a comment there because I put your name in it, so she could probably think I'm one of your trolls or something. I don't know what she think, but
But isn't that part of the formula where they with a lot of these female YouTubers in the black part where they 1 minute they're talking about the white folks, then when they get kicked out of that sector for talking about white folks, then they want to talk about black men. But then when black men start ignoring them, not worrying about them, they talking about something else. So I don't see the mentality coming from the female sector of YouTube in particular, because I've kind of observed and listened to these conversations between a lot of the black men and these American black women, and mostly really it's just American black women either one reacting to what's going on with black men, or two copying their formulas that black men lay out in terms of their topics, their formats, and the way that they structure their channels. So I don't even understand why so many brothers even paying attention to them, because see, once more and more brothers that create content stop paying attention to them at all, that's when they're gonna feel it. Because what it is, these women can feel the cold shoulder days coming. They can feel it. That's why you have women like some of these trolls that come into this small place called the Black Manosphere when they doing millions and billions of things, and they do this invasion, because it's almost like, look at me, look at me. Someone waving and waving. You ain't paying no attention to them. It's like, look at me, because they're dying for attention.
Yeah, women thrive off of that because they've been raised as little girls to, be the apple of a man's eye, the center of attention, no matter what, whether it's from other females or other men, and they know they're gonna derive a majority of that attention from men. But they've been raised since little girls to be that way, to
yeah,
think to themselves that they're the baddest bitch, that they got the tightest pussy, or at least every man should think that way, which is why so many of these females are in constant drama with one another, because they can't seem to figure out that any female can put on a weave, put on fake up, put on a tight skirt and heels, and pretty much resemble you. Now, you may be a little bit more attractive than the next bitch, but even if you are, there's a billion bitches after you that look better than you or at least on your level. So that's why they're constantly in competition with each other and arguing and in drama with each other, because they all trying to prove to themselves, not to men, but to themselves, by using men as pawns, that they're the baddest bitch. It's like it's been programmed into them.
They
Yeah, and they use that because what I actually kind of noticed like from yesterday when y'all was speaking, how you would say like these women would get into like man spaces and then they'll convince men that they're down and they're following like a Paris Milan. Like I guess she used a little bit of her sexuality to gain her following or whatever. she
Of
she
course
could.
you did.
Yeah, because she when I first initially went to her channel, she only had about 5K. Now she would have like 80,000 or something. So
now
like
Yeah,
when
she
so like
surpassed Cynthia G.
yeah, so like and like I guess on average, far as like the guys in the manosphere, whatever, I could be wrong. What is those share like 60K or something?
Yeah.
I he I mean we gotta be realistic because they not on Tommy level, but like those guys kind of modeled themselves at the time of like the Minister Japs and the Angry Man and stuff, and they don't have as big enough followings because of like like sexuality is going to get the guys to really come to these women channel, and they're going to be trying to agree with them and pander to them like, "Hey, baby, you look good." And I'm like, why do these guys really think they have a chance to like? This ain't like no Facebook Live and then like where you can come in and chat with this woman one on one. You sending her all this money and stuff. She can't see you. You behind a computer screen.
well, they
Like
guys have a really messed up mentality, and if anything, what it's proven is that the dudes that think that and sending these women money is gonna impress them, the female is actually laughing at you, and she's gonna go fuck another dude that you would never think she would fuck. That's women in general. Women tend to
yeah,
do exactly the opposite of what you think. Because I remember this one woman that I used to fuck with, and she was just like a casual sex partner. And one day we were just talking about the difference between how much attention a man gets on social media versus a woman. And I was telling her how, like, on Twitter, a female can retweet some shit that you said, and you might get like 20 retweets, but she might get like 20,000. And then she was showing me like some text messages of dudes that been trying to get with her. And I remember this one dude sent her like a fucking 3-paragraph text message talking about how much he wanted to be with her and how much he was trying to get with her. And I'm like, I just had her nod me off and she's laughing at you. And I be thinking, like, what if you the dude on the other side of that one day? And that's why I'm very, very careful with these women out here, man. So you got these women, they manipulate things for their purpose, but the more effort that you put into them, usually that shit ends up being a wasted effort because the whole time that you're putting in all that effort, she's banging dudes that's putting in no effort.
Yep.
yeah,
Yep.
and it's like what's the guy from Wonder Woman, Ares? Like when war continues, it's like they feel like they get more power when more friction continues. That's how like those women like that is. Like they get a kick out of that shit. Like if furthermore fuels them into doing shit like that. Like how you said, like yeah, I could eventually be on the other end because I had situations like that too, and I'm like, wow, this guy's doing that. He don't even know. I just just jizzed all on his girl face or something. You know what I'm saying?
Oh yeah,
And I
oh yeah. They nasty, man. These women, I'm telling you, boy. And even the fact that like sometimes you could just test the woman out and say some nasty shit to her, just as a test, just to see a reaction. And in my life, most times women don't get no resistance to the nasty shit I tell them. Like a lot of time they just go along with you. So I don't know, man. I think one of the problems that we're having in the dating market in 2019 is that we know too much about each other now. Like I
yeah
was on the channel earlier, and we were looking at data on porn. In 2019, they've learned that women watch more porn than men now. So think about that. Now women watch more porn than men do. Women have more sex than men do. Women value relationships less than men do now. Women want kids less than men. women are now making as much money as men. I mean, this is a world that none of us are living in, man. And we have to discard all the templates that were created in a blue pill society and put on us. And we have to really start looking at where we're at in this country. Women are more freakier than men. I mean, I just don't know how the long-term relationship is going to work in the future. I just don't know.
Let me ask you, King Sigma, the same question on that note that I asked Ignorant Elect. So now we discussed earlier about your experiences with being single and whether or not you wanted kids. You said you did. But in your opinion, asking you directly, what are some of the main pros, meaning strengths, and some of the main cons, meaning weaknesses of, you know, your version, or at least what your perspective of being a single man is?
I mean, like I said, for me, it's just the peace, man. It's the peace, the quiet. It's not having no obligations, because the problem with a relationship is that a woman brings a lot of social obligations, because women tend to be more social creatures than us. Women tend to want to keep up with the Joneses more than the males, so they're always wanting to drag you to this and drag you to that. Like my ex, she was always dragging me to weddings. And then it's like I would have conversation with her like, okay, this woman just got married a year ago. I went to one of her weddings. Now you telling me she's getting married again? And it got to the point that almost every wedding that I went to in that time period, the woman divorced the man within a year. And I was asking her, why do you keep going to these damn weddings if they're not gonna work out? And then I started to figure out that a lot of these women today don't want to be wives. They just want a wedding. So to them, a wedding is like a social accomplishment to say that, look, I'm a valuable woman, but they're not preparing themselves or even interested in being a wife, which is a 24-hour job.
Yeah, I peeped that as well. Like my mother used to live vicariously through her socialites, as I call them, or her childhood friends that she grew up with. She'd be like, oh, if so and so did this or bought this for their child, she'd come back and tell me. So she would have to find a way to cop it. And the only way she'll buy me something if so and so did something for their child. So you have to feel like it's a competition with your own friends, or you see so and so getting married. So I have to do. It's like women, they live vicariously the most. Well, some men do too, but women, they're more out in the open with, like, oh, Cardi B, that's my bitch. Nicki Minaj, that's my bitch. That's my bitch. Team Cardi, Team Nicki. And if you say anything about them, you a hater. You a hater. All this and that.
You can't. That's what I mean. Like they live in a fantasy world. So like when I'm talking to her about the wedding thing, because I told her like, you know what? Hey, I don't even want to go to the wedding. And she's like, why? I'm like, because men, we think about shit, right? So it's like I'm like, I don't want to get all dressed up and do all this shit just to be on arm candy or whatever. But the wedding means nothing, because you're gonna be telling me 6 months from now, a year from now, that the broad divorced him. I literally know a couple women like that where they got married, got divorced, and then they found another dude to marry like a year later. And I'm like, well, what the fuck is the point of even getting married if you treat marriage like dating? I'm noticing that a lot of American women treat marriage as if it's just to say that they got married, because they're constantly
Yeah.
they're constantly competing with each other, because the social media has changed the game for women more so than even men. Think
About like Meghan Markle getting married. Like, oh, black royalty. How is it black royalty? This not even a woman that consider herself black or identifying with black. You got black women excited about this. You got some of the most buffoonish shit I've ever seen in my life. You had like black media outlets sharing this. He's supposed to be pro-black, but they're excited about a woman that don't even claim she's black. And this is what I mean.
You gotta see, when you try to use logic on what we call the American black woman, you really fucking up, bro. You gotta understand, they were created by the system to do exactly what they do. So and I was having this discussion with some brothers, and they didn't take too well to me telling them that, based on what you're saying and how these women are able to infiltrate these spaces and dominate, I'm convinced that these women are more red pill than the men are.
Mm-hmm.
And that a lot of dudes don't get no attractive women in real life, because if they did, these women wouldn't impress them. These women wouldn't be able to get no clout and no rank amongst them. So we have a bunch of dudes who they're not really red pill guys. They're not guys that are very successful with women, because men that are very, very successful with women tend to be very nonchalant about women and their opinions. That's how you can tell. They give these women with the most shadiest histories and the shadiest of intentions all this clout, and it's gonna backfire on them eventually, because that proves that they don't really have a lot of experience with attractive women.
Yeah.
So that's just what it is, man. You're dealing with a woman who was created by a system to destroy the black family, and they're so stupid. Like Brian said, when you hear a woman say, "I'm divesting from Blackistan," you're dealing with a low IQ human being, and you know how you know? Because Blackistan came out of your vagina. You can't escape Blackistan, because wherever you go, Blackistan is between your legs, and now they're getting upset at black men because they're trying to climb Swirl Mountain, and it's backfiring on them. You got women who promote swirling who are actually low key trying to fuck black men every day.
Right. And you know what I've realized in recent time is that not only David Carroll did leave one thing out. Not only did Blackistan emanate from between these bitches' legs, they are Blackistan.
Yes.
No more proof of that than looking on these whores' social media. The way they treat other black females, the way they treat themselves, the way they treat their children, the way they treat their boyfriends, hell, for that matter, the way they treat their side niggas and their husbands. They are Blackistan.
They are.
Is why these socially inept, degenerate ass niggas, these Chief Keef ass niggas, this is where they are getting their fucked up, their cerebral fuckery, what I call being cerebrally malnourished. They're getting it from these bimbos that are giving birth to them, these damn thought bots. How the hell can you divest from your own mirror fucking reflection? That's what I've been asking these hoes in my last couple of fucking videos.
They can't answer that.
Impossible.
They can't answer that because they have, see,
they love drama. They love drama.
That's why
you are Blackistan, bitch.
That's why I said Lauren London is such a great avatar for what you're talking about. This and what Ignan is mentioning. See, it's like a natural bipolarism. Everyone knows that Lauren London is a self-proclaimed Hebristophiliac, right? And I just gotta read the quote from her one more time so that people can just let this sink in. Why Blackistan is between her thighs. So here's,
oh man, I know what you about to say.
So here's Lauren London.
JD Black was talking about it earlier. Go ahead.
Yeah, so here is Lauren London from King Magazine. Prior to all this Nipsey Hussle stuff, I just want you guys to keep your thinking cap as I read this paragraph. So she says, "I love guys who are street. I won't even give a soft guy a chance." Then she goes on to talk about Menace to Society movie. Menace to Society is my shit. Kane was like my first crush. No. Actually, O-Dog was my true dream guy. I was so in love with him. From that opening scene where he kills the convenience store worker, he had me from that gunshot. He was good, and I loved that it made me come. Now, I want to read. So that was what she said. Now, here's the definition of hybristophilia. I talked to guys earlier about this, called the Bonnie and Clyde syndrome. Hybristophilia is a paraphilia in which sexual arousal, facilitation, and attainment of orgasm are responsive to and contingent upon being with a partner known to have committed outrages, cheating, lying, known infidelities, or crimes such as rape, murder, or armed robbery. Now, looking through that lens of what she has said she likes death. She's attracted to it. It makes her orgasmic. Now you fast forward in this situation with Nipsey Hussle and getting gunned down by Shitty Cuz. You got Kane and you got O-Dog. Obviously, Shitty Cuz is O-Dog because she said she wants this super thug. So to go back to what Brian was saying about Blackistan being between her thighs, I mean, if the prettiest Black American women are pedestalizing the super thug lifestyle and Black men killing each other for their entertainment, this is what we're dealing with as Black men in America when you talk to the average Black woman, because even though on one hand they'll say, oh, well, that's just Lauren London. or that's just Cardi B. But go to those women's comment section, and they got 100,000 Black American women backing their comments up.
Brother, I had a female. I didn't realize how fucking conniving and dangerous these bitches were until about 3 years ago, right before I met my last ex, the last relationship I was in. I was doing a rideshare service job, and I picked up this light-skinned hood rat chick. I could tell she was obviously hood rat. We got to talking, and my car needed some repairs at the time, and she told me that she was a mechanic. And when I dropped her off at her home, which just looked like hell, it looked like a bomb had been dropped on it. I mean, the blinds were tore up, the grass was uncut. There were 3 raggedy ass cars racked up in the driveway. Now that was a dead giveaway right there that she was talking shit about. She had taken some mechanic school training and she knew basics about mechanic work. She was trying to explain to me why there were three beat up ass cars in her driveway if she was a mechanic. So she gave me her number. She was halfway decent looking. Hey, me being a stupid ass nigga, I'm thinking, I'm trying to fuck. The mechanic thing is just an excuse to get over her house because I told her, I need certain things checked out on my car. So she gave me her number, and the next day I called her and I asked her if I could come over. She's like, well, yeah, I'll be on my way over there now. And she told me, I could come by the house right then. So like a fool, I drove over there. Now, keep in mind, this female, she told me that she had just divorced what she called her husband. When looking at this chick, I could tell, well, ain't nobody trying to marry this hoe. But these female being wifey means something completely different to these hoes now. But she claimed that she was broke up with this dude, right? So like a fool, I go over to her house to wait on her. And I figure, well, it took me a while. I'll go halfway across town. So she might be here already. So I knock on the door, ring the doorbell. And when it opens up, it's this nigga with this light skinned nigga with tattoos all over his face, eyes bucked as hell, like he's either high or he's looking for some shit to pop off. Scared the shit out of me because I'm like, I wasn't expecting no nigga to answer her fucking door. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, oh, hey, what's up? He was like, yeah, you want something? I'm like, oh no, bro, I'm good. And so and then, I turned around. I'm like, what the fuck? I thought she told me she was single. And so then, this thing, when I texted the bitch about it, she called me and as soon as I pick up the phone, she's laughing, and she was like, "Oh yeah, that's my guy. He told me you were scared as hell when you came and rung the doorbell," and she's laughing about this shit. And I'm thinking to myself, wait a minute, bitch, you had me coming over your crib thinking that you were single, knowing that there was a nigga in there, or at least he had access to your house to come and go as he pleased. And you think this shit, the fact is there could have been a misunderstanding between me and him, that somebody could have wound up shot, or
yeah, that's what they want.
You think that shit is funny? She was laughing like it was just like a practical joke. Like she didn't see anything wrong with me and him possibly have getting into some type of misunderstanding while she was out and about. And that's when I realized these hoes are not only scandalous and trifling, these hoes are outright dangerous.
Yeah,
My health.
yeah, Brian. I have a similar kind of. It's a story like a few years ago. One of my female cousins, she had a friend, and I was at one point in time I was trying to even talk to her friend, but I had noticed some things about her at a current party before that, but I didn't really put too much thought into it as I should have. So I was kind of even skeptical even going on this party this night, but I still came because I wanted to drink. I'm like, all right, I'm off work. I wanted to drink. It's Friday. You'll be all right. So I called an Uber to her party, whatever it was. So when I get there, I noticed like some guy, like as soon as I walk in, some guy's mad about something. His girl was holding him back. I don't know what this guy's mad about, but I'm like, he's coming over from like the crowd of where all the people I know is at. So I'm like, oh, somebody must have got into it with her. I don't know what, but let me go sit at the bar. So the whole time I'm sitting at the bar, and I come downstairs like when the whole party is over, and then it's just more drama and stuff outside. Then come to find out, like a lot of these guys were invited by the girl that I was trying to at one point in time talk to. So it's like she got a kick out of inviting all these guys to her birthday party, whatever it was that she all knew was trying to get with her or fuck or whatever. And she got a kick out of that shit. And even my cousin even made the excuses like, no, she just wants everybody to be friends. I'm like, no, she don't want everybody to be friends. She did that because she gets a sick kick out of seeing all these guys fight to the death over her.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. And see, I'm inclined to think that bitch that I just told you guys about, I'm inclined to think that she deliberately sent me to her house to knock on her door before she got back home to ambush me just to see what the fuck would evolve from that by the time she, got back home. And that's scary. She
Well,
wanted to see, if there were police cars outside and somebody was dead, or a damn mushroom cloud had risen. These bitches, they thrive off of this shit.
they
They
do.
do. They do.
Your incident remind me of that movie Baby Boy with Snoop Dogg and Tyrese.
Oh man.
when Snoop was at the crib and shit. That reminds me of that. But you're right, man. And that's why I say you got to be a very red pill aware man. And when you were asking like what's important to get into a relationship, I said that, man, you got to just open your eyes out here. You got to really be on your square, and you got to know what you want out of yourself and relationships now more so than ever. Because see what it is, most of us were walking through life on a treadmill that was already on preset. So it's like your grandfather and grandmother were married, your parents were married or whatever. Most people were married. You got a job, you had kids. That was a preset model for relationships all this time. But all of that has been totally destroyed and shredded up because the women have shredded it. A lot of men have shredded it. So we don't even know what it means to be in relationships anymore because every day they're adding new and new layers to what's defined as masculinity, femininity, and relationships. That's why I keep telling you, like, I gotta be honest, bro. It's like I don't even think in terms of long-term relationships anymore. Like I've gotten to the point where I expect that all relationships are kind of like temporary arrangements now.
They are. You're right.
And that's sad, bro, because that has never been the model. And the proof is that fatherless homes is the reason why the Black community is in the position that it's in today. So it's like what we're saying is that we're going to have a society that's built on the model of fatherless homes, or we're going to end up like Japan in an herbivore men situation with a birth rate that's lower than the death rate. So I don't know. Because I really
they only allow them to have 2 kids in Japan. I heard.
No. You're talking about China, but actually,
Yeah, that's China. Yeah.
in Japan, they're actually trying to pay them to have kids. The men and the women are not having kids because they're more advanced on the roads that America is going down right now. So, like the Japanese men, they don't want to have a wife. They don't want families. They want to play their video games, hang out with their friends. And the women, they say that they don't want to have sex really. They don't want to have it. They want to focus on their careers. So they're more because their technology is more further along than ours. And so we watch their situation and kind of see what the path that America is like. Why do you think Japan is the one that's producing all the sex dolls? Because the demand there is so much greater for sex dolls already. It's just now starting to trickle to this part of the world, America.
Right.
So they already showed us the model where this thing is going to go. When you got guys like Brian, see, typically a dude like Brian in another generation, he would be wanting to, spread his seed around because he was more invested in the community. He had a successful model for a relationship. But what has happened, it's the men who have the most valuable seeds to share with the most fertile women that are pulling their seeds off the market.
Right, because
go ahead, Brian.
I was going to say, and it's because of the ass backwards mentality of the society that you're talking about that's actually shunning us and belittling us and making us seem like we are the degenerates, or there's something wrong with us, when
Fuck you.
actually we should be the example. We should be playing the leadership role. We should be the role models. So men like me and yourself, we are seeing this, and we are starting to separate ourselves from this society that is shunning us, that is belittling us, that is making us out to be, the alien,
It's sick,
so to
man.
speak.
It's
Right.
so
It
weird
is.
what you're saying, because that's what I'm noting. Like, that's why the Nipsey Hussle thing is such a good microcosm of what's going on. The elevation of thugs and the worship of death. And so a lot of brothers like myself, see, I'm lucky that I've never limited myself to the American black woman. That's been my one saving grace, is that I have more hope outside of the American black woman than within it. So I date a lot of African women, and they tend to come from two-parent homes, and they're much better. But here's what's happening with them as well. What I'm noticing is that even with the foreign women, the pop culture here is destroying them as well. They're
Yep.
starting to mimic the same behavior.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah, they're mimicking the same behavior as the Cardi B's and the Nicki Minaj, because they're here and they want to fit in. And women being more social than men, they're gonna take on the norms of the females that are popular. And it's just sad, man, because even them, they're being destroyed. So I don't know, man. It's just fucked up. It's like I know some dudes have this goal where they're like, I just want to fuck a new girl every day. Bro, I've been there. It comes a
Who's that?
point where
Yeah.
it comes a point where just fucking random women every day becomes unfulfilling to a man of any kind of character. Yes, there are bucks out there that they don't have that emotional humanity inside them, I guess. But once you done fucked a lot of women, you're gonna find out that it gets kind of empty just jumping on top of a woman that you have no connection to and fucking her. It does get to that point, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's that African chick in Hollywood? The dark skinned one with the short hair.
Lapita.
Oh, Lupita.
Yeah, Lupita Nyong'o. Now, she is a swirler, but in going back on what you were saying about how African women, really over the course of the last decade and a half, have been being poisoned by this westernized culture. In her defense, she is, at least from a physical appearance perspective, from what I can see, at least for the most part, keeping it real. Because I was knocked off my feet. There was a time, even when I first started off early as Brian Solange, when I used to think that African women were by and large better than black women. But when you look at what's going on right now in Africa, that is, just now over the course of the last 2 decades, been really kind of catching up with the times of my modernity. Just in Kenya alone, I like to die when I found out this perspective. I mean, these statistics: 72% of Kenyans use some type of skin lightening cream, and most of that are skin lighteners. They get this stuff from underground markets. It's not even legal. A lot of this stuff causes cancer. Okay. And most of these Kenyans that's getting this shit are females. When I found that out, I like to get knocked completely the fuck off of my feet. A lot of these African bitches, and I know because I dated one quite a while back. I think that was 2013. A lot of them are getting the same mentality, not just here,
Yep.
when they come over here. As a matter of fact, to be honest with you, brother, because I know you said you dated a lot of African women.
I have.
From what I've seen, the African women over here, and I could be wrong about this, but it seemed like Lupita Nyong'o, they keep it realer than the African bitches that stay in Africa, from what I've seen.
Well, I can give you an example of how bad it's getting out here. I was looking at Twitter earlier, and there was this black woman who put this post, because there's always, like, what I don't understand is like the effort that American black women go to just totally denigrate black men in the public. Like, so in this Twitter, this woman, she was saying, in my opinion, marrying a black man means you either A, lower your standards or have none at all, B, wait your turn because he's probably someone else's husband currently, and C, just don't. Now, besides the fact that this is very racist towards black men, What stood out to me was when she put B, and of course, there were hundreds of people that responded to it, bitches saluting it or whatever. But when she said, "Wait your turn," because he's probably someone else's husband currently. Now remember, only 30% of black men are married, almost 50% are childless bachelors, and then the other 28% to 25% or whatever are the ones that are bastard baby makers. She tells on herself, right, that she is only willing to date a very, very small amount of black men, and the other guys don't even count. Like they don't even matter. But then the same woman, if she saw a black man with an Asian woman or a Latina or even an African woman, because they hate them too, she would be on here talking about, going against this man, attacking him. Oh, he's a sellout, he's a coon. So I just have gotten to the point that with most American black women, I just don't even care anymore because I'm not falling into their frame. I'm not putting in no effort to get them. All the black pickup artists you could have these hoes. The only American black woman I want is the one that finds me so attractive and appealing that she comes and gets me. Because I'm not fucking with these American black women to that extent anymore. Because there is an open war against us as black men in general. But it's heart-wrenching to see the way that American black women that claim that they care about black men just sit on the sidelines, don't say shit, and let these women spread viral messages against their brothers, against their fathers, against their sons, and don't say shit. The only people responding to this black male racism that they have against us are black men. I don't see a bunch of armies of black women that claim that they love black men defending black men against these kind of social media campaigns. This is hurtful stuff, man. When you see the women that are supposed to be a part of your community openly, it'll be even one thing if black women were just talking shit amongst themselves, but they go to the greatest lengths to let the white men and the white women know that we hate black too.
Yeah, they regurgitate a lot of like white supremacist talking points, and again that goes to show you if me and you was to even be like, well, you're validating a white talking point. We're not saying that we agree with it, but you're validating it. Like I had one time I was watching something, I just typed in David Duke's name just to see like what shows he's been on in the past, and he was and some other guy came up. I can't remember his name, but he was saying something, and then some of the people were actually validating his talking points in the crowd. Not to say I necessarily agree with him because clearly he's not in the favor of any black man, but when you do something, when you're reinforcing a negative stereotype or you're perpetuating that stereotype, you're kind of like in that moment proving him right. Now, if we was to say something like that, we would be called coons and sellers. But when they get to do and say all that type of stuff, and it's just like, oh, they're just expressing their feelings, and they're just saying like what it is and all this and that. See, they don't never face any type of repercussion. They don't get to face no type of accountability. See, a lot of these women like they want to have a sack. They want to have a tool. They want to act like they the man, but they don't want the responsibility of a man or what comes with the territory of being a man. But they
Yeah,
try to tell us what men is.
that's what's funny is that a woman who can't keep a man and she never spent a day as a man and they never had a real man, they say they weren't raised by men, but it's so odd that a group of women who have those kind of prerequisites they come with and backgrounds are always trying to tell a black man what a real man is, even though they say themselves say they never had a black father, they never seen their mama with a black father, they never seen their mother with a man around. They basically just got generations of women raising each other. But yet these are the women that know so much about what a real man is. But then the same woman that will put out that kind of propaganda I just read to you guys will be the one that when she go on that date with White Daddy and it goes bad like it did in Dallas and she's getting her ass mopped up and down downtown Dallas, now she's online and on TV knotted up asking where's her protection. So that's why I'm saying for me, I'm done. Like I'm exhausted with these kind of conversations. I just say to the black pickup artists, the black Photep communists, their white daddies, that's your woman. She's all yours, bro. Y'all can have, they all yours. Take them off.
Well, see, that's why I'm where I'm at. you know, and some brothers early on when I started doing these live streams at the beginning of the year, they started before I invented the hashtag I'm a Marlboro man, and we were still calling ourselves Red Pillars before we realized how compromised that movement along with MGTOW was. A lot of brothers started calling me Black Pill. I'm at, you know, where you said where you were at, seeing how hurtful it is the way black women treat black men, you know, just show complete disdain for not only our masculinity, but just us as, you know, their counterparts within our respective tribe. I have not only walked through that rabbit hole, I'm out of the rabbit hole now. And I realize what the black female has devolved into since slavery. And what she has devolved into is nothing short. I'm not talking about every individual black female, but I'm talking about really, you know, when you look at it as a collective, who they're worshiping now, Cardi B, the way they treat black men, the way they talk about us, the way they openly court other men of other races and flaunt them in front of our faces, where even women of other, I mean, you had that whole, what was her name, that little Lebanese porn star, that bitch, I forget her name,
Oh,
I
but
know you talking
it,
about
yeah.
as
Mia,
much
what's
of
her
a
name?
whole,
Mia Khalifa.
Mia
yeah,
Khalifa.
Mia Khalifa. Now she got to act like a fucking fool, proving that women of other races do step out of pocket.
Yeah.
But when ISIS told her to cut that shit out, and this is the difference between black women and women of other races. They, even women that act out of pocket in other races, in a lot of cases, they still respect their man's word. When ISIS told her to cut that shit out, she cut that shit out. Whereas black women, they will keep getting in our faces over this bullshit, keep fucking with us, keep telling us about how we ain't shit, and then have the nerve to come back and ask us, hey, hold out their hand and say, hey, where's our protection? You know, why y'all dating white women? So, see, I've arrived at the point where I realize these women as a collective are no longer our friends, are no longer our allies, and never really were since we stepped off the slave
E-
ship.
e- e- even even some of the women in our family, like
Yes, yes.
they'll date a guy that is abusive to him verbally and physically. Then they'll come to you, oh brother, oh cousin, you supposed to help me beat him up or do all this and that. And then say if you was to go out and fuck this dude up and you just beat this dude like ass, like then like probably like a day or two later she back with this guy ready to press charges on you and him. You know what I'm saying?
Yep,
Or
yep.
this is how like messed up they is. Like even they turn against their own family after they just told you a day or two before he beat me up, he doing this and that, but you quick to forgive him. That's why when somebody had asked me this, and I said, well, if a guy is beating on my sister or a female relative or something, I'm going to ask them, well, how many times he's done this already? Because you know what I'm saying, I'm not. It's no point in me going out there, you know, risking my life because I am risking my life confronting this dude because you don't know what he may be on. He already don't give a fuck about my relatives, so I know he don't care about what I'm coming in for. He already going to be in defensive mode. So I'm putting my life on the line just for her to go back with this guy after either I possibly get killed or get hurt, or you know what I'm saying, or possibly fuck this dude up.
But what about the fact that what if you got the situation like in Dallas where to come to find out she was trying to date the guy or she was tricking off with the guy or something, and that's really what happened? What if you have a see, this is the problem that these American black women are about to run into with this whole protection thing. We
Wait a
are
minute. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. Just to clarify, are you saying that LaDeja Unique bitch was trying to hold with that white guy?
Yeah, that's the
Or
story because she actually they didn't tell you the part of the story that she had actually broken out his window. She tried to keep him locked in, and the way that the story has been told now is that there was some tricking going on, or either they were on some kind of date because that club in Dallas.
really?
I don't know if anyone in Dallas,
Wow.
but
I didn't hear that.
according to people from Dallas, that's a top swirling club in Dallas. That's what they say.
Really?
Yeah.
So now was she, now just to clarify this, because I had heard about her trying to call her homies, and then I heard about her breaking out his window, but I hadn't heard anything about what. Now was she there? Because we know that more than half these hoes on social media are thoughts. But was she like a prostitute in the sense of like getting paid, like paid date, or was she actually just trying to find a white guy to fuck around with type
See,
of thing?
I've heard both stories, so I can't say for sure. But you know how these things are when they give you just a little bit of footage. Then when you follow the story a week later, you find it was something totally different. So I've heard two versions. One said that she was just on some general swirling. Other people said that she was on some tricking and didn't get her money. So all I know is that it's very rare for a situation like that to happen. So either one of those could be the very likelihood. But my point is that what if you were a guy walking down the street and in this climate that we're in, where these American black women continue to dehumanize us as black men in front of everyone. This is what I'm saying, Brian. This is humiliating what these women are doing to us as black men. It's humiliating. They're going before the world and telling the entire world how much they disrespect us. They're telling Asian men. We would rather let Asian men beat our asses when we steal weed from them and still submit to them. White man, you can do anything you want to us and we will still submit to you. They're telling all these races that they are free agents and that they have no loyalty to the black American man. But then they say, hey, if I'm getting my ass whooped by one of these races and you happen to be walking down the street, you need to protect me. This is why I'm like, you know what? The vengeance that's gonna come on the shoulders of all American black women because they let like the certain percentage that are doing all this damage, they're gonna live to regret one day that they sat in silence as all these women disrespected black men openly to the world. Because you got to understand, these messages are being broadcast to millions of people outside of black America, and it's making them disrespectful. But you notice, you don't hear about Asian dudes running up on no black man. You don't hear nothing about white dudes running up on a black man unless they got a gun or they're in a group, because black men can handle themselves. It's the black woman and the black children that are going to be the victims of these racist cowards, not us.
Mhm. Yeah, and it's interesting about that whole situation that happened in Dallas because when you look at these females that call themselves swirling, when they don't get what they expect from the white man. A classic case of this was Crystalline Cares, and who can forget her and that Veganator guy a couple of years ago? I mean, here's a bitch who brings a white dude onto her live stream that lets her know up front that he's a troll and that he doesn't deal with black women anymore. And she brings him on with the intent to shame him into swirling with black women. Now, this dude at the time didn't even have 1,000 subscribers. Then, when she brings him on like a fucking fool, he capitalizes on that, goes back to his own channel, starts trolling Crystalline Cares and telling everybody about how thirsty she was to have a white man on her channel. And then when her white knight starts, turning the cannon on her and trolling her and abusing her, she has the unmitigated gall to come her bitch ass on a live stream and start crying crocodile tears, asking black men, why didn't we come to her defense?
That's the same. That's the same. That's the same with that woman you reported about, the one that was dating the guy that was a Trump supporter.
Yeah.
And then these idiots on Facebook, it's nothing but black men defending her. I'm like, y'all a bunch of fucking idiots. She did this deliberately so black people can defend her, and then she's gonna end up with a white guy. And I told people that, and people started attacking me in the comments. Was like, oh, you sound like a cool and all this and that. And then she sure enough did go back with another white guy.
And that's why I don't pay no attention no more. I'm just at that point, and I'm not like on no black pill like Brian is, but I can definitely see how I'm becoming more and more just like a lack of empathy. And it's kind of ugly because I've never felt like this, but the more and more I see how much hatred these American black women are throwing at us, and I know it's not all the black women, but they are standing there and they're just watching on the sidelines as these women do it, to see that the way that they celebrate the swirling. I mean, I've seen women say, I mean, just think about how ugly of a term it is to say that it's leveling up whenever a black woman is not with a black man. That's an accomplishment, even though, think about how stupid this woman is. When you get with that white man, your genetic line now is no longer black. Your kids ain't gonna look like you. Your kids will never look like
Right, exactly.
because
But they don't care about that.
yeah, those kids ain't no black. That tells you how much they hate themselves. That's why I don't take it personal no more, because at first it really hurt me more when I started seeing all this stuff that these black women would do this to black men. But then I started realizing that these women are actually doing us a favor, because every time one of these women is taken out of the dating pool, that's just good for you as a man to know that that might have been a woman that you would have thought was for you, but she was never for you. And think about how miserable your life would have been to be with a woman that had that inner white worship inside of her. So that is the one bright side of all these swirlers coming out, is that they're making it very easy for black men to walk away and find women that are way better quality and way more for them. Those women need to be gone, and they need to stay gone. But unfortunately, you got a lot of these guys over here that's willing to forgive these women when they go over to these white men, get all kind of mistreatment through sexual plantation, abuse, and they come back to you so fucking damaged with split personalities, bipolar disorder, possibly mulatto children, and they still got that inner hate, because even if they do temporarily come back to you, dumbasses, all it takes is another bottom shelf Brad to come along and they right back in the win. So
Right.
I'm actually on that level happy that these ghetto gaggers are coming out, because I gotta be honest, man. I had no idea. I'm really not even gonna lie, until I came on YouTube, that this white male worship was as strong as it is amongst these women.
I first started noticing it in November of 2012, back when I worked at a little department store, back a while ago when I was still going through college. And I noticed that, I saw, and it wasn't the first time I saw a young black female with a white boy, but it was the way they were acting in public, especially when, she saw me and some other brothers that were employees there. And that's when I started to walk down that Negro bed wench rabbit hole. And I started, I started studying. They didn't call it swirling back then. It was just, interracial dating. I started studying it, and the more I studied it, the more I started to notice it, not just out in public, but on social media. And what I noticed was that these black females were not just dating these average or below average looking white dudes, but they were flaunting it, particularly whenever they were around black men. They didn't do it when they didn't do it when white women were around too much.
Right.
But it was primarily, the only time I saw it was when, there was a brother around, whether it was me directly or somebody else. Like, for example, you could be walking down the street and a swirler couple is coming in the opposite direction. And, I'm a black man, like downtown Chicago or something. Soon as she sees me, at first she's just having a casual conversation with this dude. Then she gets close to him and she grabs his hand. Like just a coincidence that she start, and of course a person can be with whoever the fuck they want to be with. But if she's doing this, this is her communicating to me. This is her way of saying fuck you and what you gonna do about it, nigga.
You
And
want me to
so
tell you
that's
something
why,
about the kryptonite?
huh?
Do you know what the kryptonite is to that though?
What?
I've seen that incident as well, but I noticed that when I'm with a fine ass brown skinned woman, them bitches get insecure and be all buttery with me and my girl.
Mm-hmm.
Have
Yes,
you seen
exactly.
that? If you run into like a black woman, that's the type of black woman that you just described, and you got you a fine ass brown woman with you, and oh my god, they get so motherfucking insecure and shook. I've seen this because I've had interaction with these bed wenches when they were with their white dude and they saw me with my brown beauty, and them bitches, I don't know, it did something to them. And I've seen it enough times to know that that's kryptonite, because see, that power of you being with a black woman and them being the dejected one and the outsider, it totally obliterates their whole argument.
Hmm. I recall a couple of times back when I still used to deal with women. Especially my last relationship that I was in for 2 years. Like there was this one time we were at a movie theater and we were standing in line, and there was this short hair, short black female that really looked basic. She was dark skinned as hell, of course, and she was with this Daffy Doof looking white guy. I noticed that she kept kind of looking, like turning around and glancing, looking at us because we were the only black couple there. You had a couple of black guys. What was particularly interesting to me was that there was a black guy in a separate concession stand line right beside us with this white girl that was really decent looking. But the black chick that was with the white dude, she didn't keep turning around and looking in his direction. She kept turned around looking in my direction, like she was trying to get a good look at me and what was then my fiance, who was, unusually tall. And, I thought that it was annoying me, first of all, because it was a swirler that kept turning around. She was trying to act like she wasn't looking. She was like, she'd turn around and look all around, like she was looking for something else. And then her eyes would just briefly fixate on us. And then she turned back around. And she did this about 2 or 3 times. And so, yeah, I did notice that. But see, the reason why I've come to the black pill conclusion is because I realized that the only way, and I think you're getting there, King Sigma, the only way that a black man, I as a individual, black man or not, the only way that I can be mentally free, physically free, is by being by my motherfucking self. What I've come to realize is just like the brother, I think that was Beezy that brought that up earlier in the chat room, where he said, whenever you get with somebody, you're carrying their bags of luggage along with your own, especially when it's a woman. She's going to want you to carry her luggage and your luggage. Okay. And so that's why, hence the title of this stream, Black Men in Single Life, analyzing what life is really like for a hashtag Marlboro Man. I came to realize that the only way I'm going to have life the way I want it is classical, like your grandmother told you. If you want something done right, you got to do it yourself. Okay. I realized if I want my life to be the way I want it to be, I can no longer, with things the fucked up way they are now, you know, with whores like Cardi B at the top of the heap, I can no longer depend on someone else to bring happiness into my life. Okay. That is an outdated, traditionalist standard that might as well be sitting on a fucking shelf like a loaf of bread turning green. Okay.
Yep.
The only person that is going to bring happiness into my life, gonna make me feel good, gonna, make me feel fulfilled, is my motherfucking self, which includes my sexuality. It's scary. It's scary that we're at that point. But you even brought up earlier, King Sigma, that and me and my father, I found me and my father even talking about this, and my dad agreed with me, even though he's been married for 30 years. The cold hard fact is, because of these feminist and socialist policies that have been put in place over the course of the last 40, 50 years, women don't need men anymore, and men it never needed women. Okay, besides to be born, men never needed women to survive in this world. But now, see, women don't need men, and so essentially, what you have is women doing what they think is thinking like and acting like and reasoning like a man, when really they're just being nothing more than a bunch of assholes. I don't know if either one of you brothers watched that movie Titanic that came out like 20 years ago,
Yeah, I've seen
but
Yeah.
it before.
yeah,
I've seen it.
if you look at the beginning of the movie, when the rich the girl that was getting ready to marry the rich white dude, Hawkley, I think her name was Rose DeWitt Bukater.
Yeah,
That character, I forget the name of that actress that played her.
Rose
uh,
McGowan.
Kate Winslet, or was it? I think it was Kate Winslet.
Yeah, yeah, I
Uh,
think you're right. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, but do you remember that scene? I was planning on doing a video about that to help people understand how women have evolved but devolved at the same time. where when her mother found out that she was fooling around with that Jack Dawson dude, the poor guy played by Leonardo DiCaprio,
Yeah.
and then they were in that little room, and she was fixing her daughter's corset. She sent the maid off because she wanted to talk with her daughter, face to face, and she told her, "You're to stay away from that. You're to stay away from that Jack guy. I forbid you seeing him again." And her daughter started smarting off to her, and she turned her daughter around and pushed her up against the wall, and she was like, "What's gotten into you, Rose? Like, since your father died and left us with nothing, all we have is our good name. This Hawkley guy, this rich motherfucker, he will ensure our survival. We're women. This is all that we have." See, back then, women had to cater, they had to pander to the likes of men. They had to play their role. See, I for one, me being a black pillar, a true Marlboro man, I really truly believe that since what these Christians call Adam and Eve, women have always had a feminist mindset of, I don't need a motherfucker, but I'll use him when it's convenient to my benefit. Okay, it's
Yep.
only that now they can show their true colors that they've always had to begin with. Okay. Whereas before, if they did that, they'd be out on the fucking street. That's why Rose's mother, her character, she said, when she saw that her daughter was trying to resist what she was telling her, she was like, "Do you want to see your mother turn into a seamstress after we've been living off wealthy men all of our life? Is that what you want?" See, they were using men even back then. But see, back then, women, that's the only choice that they had. Whereas now, they're getting their college degrees, they're driving their own cars. Y'all remember it used to be a time when a nigga could pick up a hoochie mama on the street, if he had a fine car, a halfway decent car. You remember niggas riding through the hood, hollering at females, walking down the sidewalk. Nowadays, these females drive nicer cars than a lot of these niggas.
Oh,
See,
that's facts right there.
right.
I've been telling these guys that the game has went to. That's what I meant when I said earlier to you. I said it's evolved into like a primitive mating thing. And what I was referring to is that because, like you said, the factors of money and the factors of cars and things like that has been kind of nullified because the women got that themselves. We're now in a more primitive thing where it's strictly physical for the most part.
Yeah, exactly. We just use each other for the very bare not, I can't even say necessities, just lusts that we have. By nature we are drawn to one another sexually and physically, and outside of that there really is no connection between black men, and well, not just black men, just men and women, period. That's why relationships are going down the drain. Marriage rates are falling because men made the mistake of allowing women to come you know into his area, as what was her name, Bomb Cherry would say, come into his area, propping herself up to believe that she's on his level when he's really not. The reason why the creator, whether you call him God, Yahweh, Allah, whatever, the reason why it created man and woman the way he did was because he realized, just like people came up with that phrase, a better half, he realized that there needed to be, different sides, of different sides of the spectrum to come together, two different halves to come together to make a whole. That was his original intention. You can't
Right.
have two negatives or two positives and expect, to get an electrical circuit flow. It just doesn't fucking work like that.
Well,
See what I'm saying?
that's one of the reasons that lesbians have the highest rate of domestic violence. Because, like you said, when you put the two the positives and the two negatives, it doesn't work. But what's happening is that these elite social engineers, you know how like in the Bible it talks about the Tower of Babel, and that's what they were referring to. What has happened? The arrogance of the elite ruling class is to the point that they believe that they can re-engineer 5 million years of evolutionary programming through their science on some Frankenstein shit. So they're telling you a man can become a woman through science. A
Mm-hmm.
woman can become a man through science. A woman that's 50 years old can give birth to children. All these things that they're coming up with because it's arrogance and hubris that they are greater than God. And what it is, these elites are trying to prove that they can be greater than God by creating all these new genders. And it's just some insane.
Yeah. I heard they had something like 70 something genders or something.
Man,
Now they
Yeah.
trying to
I
now.
don't even pay. I don't even pay no attention. You know
Yeah,
what? I just use the term. You know what? Instead of trying to keep up with all the alphabet letters and genders, I just say A through Z sexuality, man. That's what I say.
I don't know. I only like women, so they can have the rest of that weird shit. But
They gonna make
no,
that illegal soon too. Like they're gonna make you and your sexuality illegal, and they're gonna make it to the point where heterosexual men are to be stigmatized and chastised. That's what it's done.
they're already doing that now. You know the irony of this whole Lauren London, Kodak Black, and all this thing. All right, we could talk about what Kodak Black did like the week or two prior with Young M.A. A lot of people. Now, don't get me wrong. Kodak seems to be kind of a little bit of trollish, and he also seems to just be a little bit immature too. But the whole thing with the whole hypocrisy with the Young M.A. thing, when he was coming at Young M.A. is it's like a lot of people in her community, they're real aggressive on going after straight people and turning straight people out,
Mhm.
which nobody actually seen the irony and hypocrisy of, because this is a woman that thinks she's a man, and then she always talks about how she gonna take a nigga female that's straight, and she gonna turn him out. Okay, it's cool that she's aggressive and does that, but like if he does the same thing, it's a problem.
Well, it's
You
going
know
to
what
be
I'm?
violence. You know what's going to happen? And Texas had a case like this a couple years ago. There's going to be a lot of conflicts coming soon between heterosexual men and A through Z sexuality. Because I remember there was a case out in Texas a couple years ago where this transsexual didn't tell the guy that they used to be a man, and the dude ended up killing the transsexual person, and there was this big outcry because on the heterosexual side, which I agree with, is that if a person used to be a man or a woman, they must tell whoever is dating them that they used to be a man or woman. That shit should be required by law
Yeah,
because
yeah. Just like when you tell somebody you HIV positive, something
exactly,
it should be a law, because you know what I'm saying. That's your medical history. It's like I have to know this. Like that's not cool to tell myself, oh well, you're transsexual. It's like
no,
no,
no, no, no, no, no.
I like women.
It goes beyond. See, you're being too generous. It goes well beyond not cool. That's rape. That's rape and
That's
immoral.
what Lil Duval said.
But here's what I was gonna say that's so weird. Straight women are the main backers of transsexuals fighting to help transsexuals say a transsexual does not have to declare that they used to be the opposite. It's actually so-called heterosexual women that back this shit. That's why I'm trying to tell you, it is a cultural war that we are in right now. You have heterosexual women being the biggest people pushing this agenda behind A through Z sexuality. How do you know? Because they only represent like what 3 to 4% of the population or something like that. Yet they're getting a push as if that everyone was into that. So they have such a powerful backing and an alliance with these American women that they just tell them anything and they jump on board. So when I was watching the discussion between these different people on the concept of consent, if you have a sex change, I just was sitting like, you gotta be kidding me. You're telling me that you got straight women saying that no, they should not have to tell you that they used to be a man because now they are. I was like, I am literally living in fucking the Twilight Zone now. Like I really think of the American West as a fucking Twilight Zone. I never thought I would see a situation like this in my life, but it's reality, man. They're pushing all these different agendas, and it's all anti-male or anti-black male at this point.
And see, that's why I'm where I'm at. Well, there's many reasons why I'm where I'm at. And the more you speak, Brother King Sigma, even though we're a year apart, it's almost like listening to you is like looking at like a mirror reflection of myself, historically from 5 years ago. You're where I'm glad to see brothers like you slowly evolving, in your thought process to see the world the way it is. And who knows, one day you may be where I'm at. But right now, listening to an intelligent brother like you, I see you where I was 5, maybe even 3 years ago, where it's like you're starting to lean more towards full blown Marlboro man, but you're still kind of in like a disbelief type of area where you're having a hard time processing just how far down the shithole society and women, and black women particularly, have gone. Whereas I myself, I went through the depression, I went through the anxiety. I went through the, oh my, no, this can't be true. I'm going on YouTube and seeing every girlfriend boyfriend tag is a black bimbo with some goofy ass looking white dude. Going on social media and seeing every black female looks like a clone with a weave on. Talking about some female that she's getting into some type of drama with, and how every dude that she knows is a cheater, or like she don't know any good men anywhere in her area. I went through that, where I was like, no, this can't be true. And to the point where it's almost like people that say they have near death experiences, like right before you think you're about to die, you get this peace that comes over you. First it's extreme fear, and then you get this peace over you, where it's like a mixture of fear and shock and excitement at the same time, and something like your body just releases these chemicals. I think they're called endorphins, that just soothes you in that split second. Some people that were on that flight that crashed in Sioux City, Iowa, back in 1989, they said they experienced that. The people that actually survived when that plane rolled over on the runway, that before they hit the ground, they said they felt almost like they had been injected with a chemical. Some of them, where it just like they were completely still, completely calm, and when the thing got to rolling, it was like everything started happening in slow motion. They couldn't even feel or hear anything. That's where I am mentally, where it's like, actually I'm even past that now. I'm past that near death experience, and I came out on the other side of that a changed man, to the point where I'm not just excluding black women. Don't get me wrong. I mean, I don't give a fuck about white women. I don't give a fuck about Hispanic women. I don't give a fuck about these people's holidays. I don't give a fuck about their religions, their politics. I have completely cut society the fuck off. Short of the internet, you would almost laugh if you saw the way I live. I do not live by any traditionalist standards whatsoever. I don't abide by patriotism, pledge allegiance to that flag, pledge allegiance to my ass. Fuck that flag. None of that shit means anything to me, because I realize most human beings, they either live their lives vicariously through somebody else, or they're trying to live their lives to impress somebody else. Okay? And as a result of that, we have a society that has turned, its anus inside out. And it's literally a ass backwards mentality that we have. Okay, going back to the whole Cardi B thing. So that's why I'm at a point where and I apologize to people that are gonna find this strange, but I'm gonna go ahead and say this, okay? As we head into the conclusion of tonight's live stream. If I woke up tomorrow, and I actually have a movie script that I'm working on with this. If I woke up tomorrow and I went out, to do my daily errands, and I didn't see a living, breathing fucking human being, it would disturb me for a little bit. But as time went on, I'd get over it. I would get over it, and I would get over it faster than most people that would actually lose their fucking minds, because I realize I see people more now as animals. We're all animals. We're the most advanced animal, but I see people more as, I don't care whether you're talking about a police officer or one of these hoochie mamas. Okay, I have the same reaction when I'm around people. I see everybody that is not me in real life as a direct threat to my very survival unless or until they prove otherwise around my motherfucking ass. You are guilty until proven innocent, goddammit. Because it's just too many fucked up motherfuckers going on this little tiny ass planet.
Yeah, I agree, man. My closing statement would be, as far as the topic and in general, is that, like I said earlier, to all you brothers out there that's finding yourself in a single phase, or even if you're getting ready to get into a relationship, man, take some time to do an inventory on where you are in your life, what your goals are, what role you really want a woman to play in your life going forward, and really take some time to study a lot of the surveys and studies coming out about the true nature of this Western woman. You know, in terms of her duplicitousness, her worship of death, her hatred of black men, the fact that many of them claim to want long-term relationships, but really only want short-term relationships, but really want a platonic friend and a sex partner, but two different men, but won't admit it. And then, you know, make your decision on if you want to be in a relationship. Because from what I'm seeing, man, I really have come to the conclusion that long-term relationships beyond like a year are going to become more and more rare as we move forward from 2019 forward. And I really believe that. But I haven't gotten to the point like Brian where I'm black pill. I haven't given up on the possibility of something long term. But it seems like Brian is more strongly founded and backed by the evidence more so than I am. Because I guess, to be honest with you, people like me, we might even be considered like idealists at this point. Whereas Brian, he is actually standing on stronger ground right now. And I can't be mad at him for just going straight black pill, man, because every day they devalue the value of a man a little bit and a little bit. So I would just ask the brothers out there, please don't vote for no feminists in 2020, man. I don't care who you vote for, what party, but
we ain't talk about Cardi B's little cheerleader, are we?
Nah, man, we can't have no feminists going for it. At a minimum, even if you've taken the Brian Solange exit, at a minimum, please do your best to make sure that no more of these feminists. So maybe we can put the brakes on the emasculation of America for the younger brothers that are coming up after us. Because if we don't stop it in this current generation, you saw what happened with Dwayne Wade. His son came out as gay today.
Oh yeah, I just seen that on Instagram.
And I was just so, I'm sitting there and I'm thinking to myself, like, this is why I can see why a dude like Brian has just said fuck it, because none of the stuff makes sense. So you got a guy like Dwayne Wade, all the money in the world, got all the status or whatever. You got Magic Johnson, same thing, right? Black men represent 5% of the population. Now explain this to me before we go, Brian. Explain this to me. How is it that black men represent 5% of the population, right? And then white men represent like 35% of the population. So quite naturally, there's at least 7 times more homosexual white men than there are black men. Now explain to me why the first 11-year-old kid of a celebrity that comes out as a homosexual male is Dwayne Wade's son, Earvin Magic Johnson's son, but then where is Peyton Manning's gay son at? Who is the best white basketball player in the NBA right now?
I thought you was gonna mention Tom Brady, the quarterback.
Okay, yeah. Where's Tom Brady? Where's Tom Brady's gay son at? Where's Dirk Nowitzki's gay son at? Do you see what I'm going here? You're gonna sit here and tell me that you guys don't find this shit to be amazingly disturbing, that we as a small population, how the fuck do we keep getting put on the poster of all this degenerate shit? Where is Tom Brady's gay son at, man?
Right.
The same with them trying to push the movement and agenda that black men are sexual deviants, and in the case of R. Kelly or Michael Jackson versus like the Harvey Weinsteins, where I don't really know too much about everything that went on with Michael Jackson. So let's just use R. Kelly. We already know he was guilty. Is conclusive evidence on that. and far as Harvey Weinstein and Elvis and them, people wanting them to have documentary on those guys. There is a racial component that kind of goes into it, as far as like how the media does it, and it's like we know that, and so the media knows that black folks how we is on sensationalism, like how we'll feed into it and keep that going. So I mean, it's just it is what it is. Certain things you just know.
Yeah, and someone
Mhm.
mentioned that's what I was trying to aim for because Magic Johnson is a Hall of Fame player. So like, where's Larry Bird's gay son at?
Mhm.
Hmm.
How
What?
is it our best, our most celebrated people? Think about it. Think about it. The most celebrated black men are either being destroyed as sexual rapists and child molesters, or they're on some homosexual shit. Now they're taking those men's children and saying, "Oh, look it." Now explain this to me. Why are we sexualizing children under 18 anyways? Why is society being allowed to? Why does a kid declare their sexuality at 11 years old? This is what I'm saying. Why I can understand why Brian has gone monk mode because this shit, none of this stuff adds up to me. It'll be one
Mhm.
thing if it made sense, but you can't explain to me how black men are such a small percentage of the population, but somehow they're making them the face of homosexuality. And you're taking men like Dwayne Wade, who is supposed to be the masculine warrior. You're taking Magic Johnson, masculine warrior, Bill Cosby, alpha male, all these guys that we have been told R. Kelly, and they're slowly destroying the image of every single black male. And it's like no one is even paying. It's like no one is even thinking about the damage that this is going to do to the next generation
Mhm.
of black males. You can't tell me that you should be sexualizing no 11-year-old boys. So Dwayne Wade, what does that say about his character and what these people stand for, man?
Well, see, brother, you had brung up. I think it was you that brung up David Carroll earlier, and you spoke about how it was either you or Ignorant. Forgive me if I'm wrong. But one of you brothers had brought up David Carroll and how he didn't make any sense to you when you first started
That
listening.
that was that was me. That was me
Okay,
because I was still like in denial. It's like it's like
right,
subconsciously I knew it was true, but I was
right.
still like, no, we can't say this about our people.
Right. And so what I think what we all understand is that David Carroll, I think he has at least a solid 10 to 15 years on all of us. And see, when he was talking about that proverbial rabbit hole, see, I can tell Brother Sigma that you are in. He talked about how he had to first go down. He started noticing this weird shit like right around our age, maybe a little younger, and he was like, "Wait, what the fuck?" And so then he's got invited, into that rabbit hole by that rabbit, or he followed that rabbit into that hole, figuratively speaking. And I think where you are right now, Brother Sigma, is you're walking through that rabbit hole and you're more than halfway through it. And see, I progressed even earlier than Mr. Carroll did. I started to go down that rabbit hole in my late 20s, because I never have been a dude to, fool around with a whole bunch of females. I had my share. But, you know, I mostly just observed people, kind of like he was saying, I was more a people watcher, online and off. And I started going down that rabbit hole, and I know I'm seeing all this harsh shit that's hard for me to deal with. And when I started to approach the end of that tunnel and started to come up, I came to the conclusion that we're living in very dangerous times. We're not just living in weird ass backwards times. We're living, especially in black men, at times that are more dangerous than when the Ku Klux fucking Klan was at the pinnacle of its power and popularity in this country. Because we are living in a time when being a black man is being shown to be a liability instead of an asset. Is being promoted, it is being denounced as a liability instead of an asset, not only to black men as individuals, but the black community as a collective. Okay. And so you have to, hence the entire purpose of tonight's live stream, you have to understand where you sit in the overall scheme of things. Okay, I had a bitch ass white cop tell me, and it was a Freudian slip, because he was upset that I was filing a complaint against one of his white, troopers that pulled me over mistakenly, thinking my car was stolen after he pressed the wrong button on his little police computer, or at least that's what he claimed. I had a lieutenant commander of the Illinois State Police tell me, phone to phone, ear to ear, that indirectly he said this. He didn't say this word for word, but he told me, trying to dissuade me from filing a complaint, that I was lucky that all I got was a warning that they've pressed wrong buttons on their cars on other niggas, and they've pulled them out of their cars with guns drawn, running a felony stop. He was not only letting me know, oh, we're the police, we have the power to do this and cover our tracks, but he was letting me know, nigga, you as a nigga, we may be in the year 2018, this happened last year, but this is where you rank in my eyes and in society's eyes, nigga. He did that slipped out, and I got on his ass about that, and he tried to cover that shit up, but when you realize that is the mentality that a person is a ranking commander in a police agency that investigates other police agencies when they're involved in shootings and police incidents with civilians. Okay, you take that and you mix that in with the way these black females see and treat black men. You understand that we as black men are living in very, very dangerous fucking times. There's been no more dangerous of a time to be a black man than right fucking now. And when you realize that, and King Sigma, you're on the right track, brother. You're on the right track. You may never get all the way to the point that I'm at. And quite frankly, I don't think you have to. Brother, I think you're already where you need to be. You just need a little bit more tweaking. You come to realize that ain't nobody your motherfucking friend. Ain't nobody your motherfucking ally. Okay? You better be looking out for yourself. You better have allegiance only to your fucking self. Because just as soon as you looking at a motherfucker, just as soon as you fucking a motherfucker, smiling at them, whatever, you do something they don't like, they will pull a fucking dagger, wait till you turn around and shove it right in the center of your back and through your fucking heart. Okay? And that's what every black man on this live stream needs to understand about where we are in this fucked up ass backward society and culture. Now I did want to ask you, brother. I was going to ask King Sigma, but he already brought it up. Um, just closing on this. What advice, as living as a single black man? I think you said, how long have you been living single again? Ignorant.
About like 4 or 5 years. I'm not even exactly sure, but it's around 4 or 5 years.
Okay, so you've been single even longer than me. Okay,
Mhm.
so you're of course your version of single. Like I said, every brother has their different version of single, and that's fine, because we all progress at our own pace. What advice would you give a brother that's struggling with single life? Not only struggling with single life, but struggling with what he's here in this chat room. Somebody's here in this chat room. I'm gonna tell everybody in this chat room right now. Somebody is here in this chat room listening to this stream, and they are here because they are where we were several years or several paces ago. Okay, they are
Yeah.
having a hard time coming to terms with where the fuck society is going, where black women are, where black men are, and they're searching for answers. What advice would you give to that person? And I'm gonna ask King Sigma again, even though he already stole it away from me. I'm gonna ask him again. But what advice would you get at brother?
Well, I first like to say they have much more of an advantage as I had probably around that time because I was still like naive and wet behind the ears when it came to like certain things. So um, I didn't know like this woman could be this vicious. You know what I'm saying? I didn't know they could be that vindictive or stuff until I started to really start talking to a lot of women. Like after that, like how the girl I told you about, her mother told me I should have kept my options open. You know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying? Like she already knew her daughter was fucked up, and
Yep.
she knew her daughter learned her fucked up ways from her, because she was even telling me like she did some fucked up things to her husband. And this woman, I don't know what it is about women, but they feel so comfortable talking to me, telling me everything. I was on the phone with this girl mother for 3 or 4 hours. Like, you know what I'm saying? I don't. It just happened. So like
Mm-hmm.
she just pretty much, I started to see like this is where she got the dysfunction from. And it's like she know her daughter's messed up, and she would love to see her daughter with somebody like me, because her daughter does not know how to choose men. She gonna go down the same mistake as she did. If she was married and she cheated on her spouse, and so on and so forth. But the what I like to say to them is, I wouldn't even force or press the issue. It's just like you really want to work on yourself and take initiative on yourself, and focus on the little things, because the women are always going to be there. Like whether they choose you, you know what I'm saying? They choose you or not, is always going to be somebody there for you, because they're gonna want to seek attention. And I just seen some foolishness. I can't remember what's her name, Charlize Theron or something. She
Yeah.
was like, guys need to grow a sack and holler at her or something, some crazy type stuff.
Yeah, she hit the wall.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So like I said, like these it's always gonna be somebody out there for somebody. You know what I'm saying? Like I used to be like, oh no, oh I have to get on this on something. Like nah, like once I just started to do me and started chilling, everything started to come into place. You know what I'm saying? I wish I
Mhm.
could be to the point where a lot of you guys are, would just letting certain things go, and I've learned a lot even in these past few days talking to y'all and talking to some of my friends, and like how y'all was telling me, man, you just need to let certain things go, because you know these people are when they just ain't gonna never gonna get it. So like
Mhm.
See, I
some
know it is. You were seduced by that ADOS movement. That's what it was.
yeah,
Mhm.
it's like I'm still under this. I can help change people, but some people they don't care. They're not gonna want to get it. Some people will eventually over time, because eventually I had some of that mindset too. But the thing is, I knew better, but I was like just foolish and just blind. Like it was just what's it the blissful ignorance, something like that. It
Mhm.
was something under that nature of me like actually knowing and just accepting it, because it was a comforting lie, rather than just face the harsh truthful reality. And then I eventually broke out of that, and people started to be like, "Oh, well, you didn't used to talk like this." It's like, well, I always knew better, but it's just like I just did this just to have a confident view of my life and to comfort those around me. But it hasn't made anything better. If anything, I've made my people worse
Right.
by even continuing this behavior and continuing to walk this lie. I made things worse. But as far as the single life, like I said, I don't have no headaches. You know what I'm saying? I can think. I can choose where I want to go. You know what I'm saying? And if a woman at the end of the night, she wants to come home with me or whatever, you know what I'm saying? It is what it is. Like you said, everybody has their own version of what being single is, and that's what it
Mhm.
is for me. You know what I'm saying? I've talked to a large amount of women. I haven't slept with them all, but I've talked to a good amount of number of women. Some of them I'm glad I didn't even do it to. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm. Right. Yeah, and so everybody in the chat room, I'm gonna let King Sigma get the last word here, but this has been an absolutely wonderful live stream. Even though we only got 30 people in here, you and the trolls kept the chat room lit, just like we had 100 or 200 people in here. I've never seen that much activity movement in a chat room that had less than 50 people. Thank everybody for coming. I honestly thought that I was sunk after YouTube's punk ass revoked my streaming privileges on my main stream, but you guys came over here, you showed up strong, you showed your support over here in this chat room. I've made more than half a dozen of you brothers that I know for sure. My moderators, I'm gonna go ahead right now and make King Sigma one of my moderators. I'm just now seeing you in the chat room, brother. So now you're one of my moderators. I got like 7 or 8 mods. You guys were on top of it like I've never seen you. Special thanks to all you brothers, Cortez Smith, Roger Spice, all you brothers. I can't even name you all. Church Christ to God, or I'm sorry, I forget your name, but you know who I'm talking about. All you brothers, Zeal, every brother that I remember didn't remember. Antoine Johnson, all of you brothers, Beezy. Yeah. So letting you guys know, just moving forward, my live streaming privileges are probably going to be revoked for at least the next 3 months on my main channel. So
Oh
whenever we
man.
need to, yeah, so whenever we need to live stream, we're going to either be over here. I have several other channels just in case this one gets fucked with too. And also, both me and the Black Avenger, we are working on creating a live streaming apparatus over on Black Avenger TV so that we can be completely independent of Black Avenger. But I need to emphasize, you brothers, before I hand it over to King Sigma to get his final thoughts, that it's not enough just to create the platform. You brothers have been stepping up to the plate, subscribing over there, signing up to me on Patreon, but even more so, where the free content is on BitChute, but especially Black Avenger, the first fully controlled and operated video sharing platform exclusively by Black men for Black men. We need you. And I'm saying this as the co-founder. We need you to come over there and support the content to the point where when I or David Carroll or anybody uploads content on Black Avenger, we don't have to make a promotional video on YouTube to get y'all ass over there, okay? I want to see at least averaging 200 videos, 200 views per video, okay? Without me having to promote shit, because then I'll know that we're starting to arrive over there and we can go ahead and let these motherfucking libtards shove YouTube up their fucking ass. Okay. Now, with that being said, King Sigma, your final thoughts on everything that we've touched on. Just got Ignorant Intellect's final thoughts. What are your final thoughts? What's the best advice you can give to a brother that's here tonight? He's confused, he's scared, he's upset. Nigga may be even a little emotional right now, and he's here, looking for advice, looking for some type of trying to help him figure out what the fuck is going on in the world today. What is the advice you would give him as a single Black man?
Okay, I'll start off by saying thanks for the wrench. Appreciate that, bro.
Yep.
The first thing is that, and I'm coming into this stage where I'm starting to understand that the American Black woman is the freest slave on the planet right now. And for you brothers that's confused about how to deal with these women, you got to start there. American Black women are the freest slaves on the planet right now. And what do I mean when I say that? Every other nationality and ethnic group of men on the planet has some degree of control, authority, and jurisdiction on the women of his ethnic group. The American Black man is the only man on the planet who, whether it be by women voluntarily submitting themselves to the group or by sovereignty of having a land of their own or whatever, all these other groups have some degree of control. But American Black men, we have zero control of American Black women, except for to the extent that each individual Black woman will submit herself to you. So understand, we don't have any culture backing us. We don't have any state backing us. We don't have any political power backing us. So we're literally free agents, the Black man and the American Black woman. So if you can start there and do the research on why I made that statement, that's going to definitely help speed up your relationships with all women. And I would say there was the quote that I was thinking about from the Bible in Proverbs 5, chapter 5, where they talk about the immoral woman. And I think, we've mentioned certain women like Lauren London, Cardi B. These, in a perfect world where everything was in an alternate universe, these would be women that would be virtuous and that would be maxing out with the men that were virtuous, creating like a great, stronger nation. And I just read the paragraph where it says, "My son, pay attention to my wisdom. Listen carefully to my wise counsel. Then you will show discernment, and your lips will express what you learn. For the lips of an immoral woman are as sweet as honey, and her mouth is smoother than oil. But in the end, she is as bitter as poison, as dangerous as a double-edged sword. Her feet go down to death. Her steps lead straight to the grave. For she cares nothing about the path to life. she staggers down a crooked trail and doesn't realize it. And I think that quote from Proverbs really encapsulate what we've been talking about here. What we're talking about is how can a man who wants a stable and positive, progressive relationship avoid the immoral woman? And I think that brothers need to be honest about what they're looking for in women in 2019, considering the climate and the kind of feminine product that America's creating. So you got to ask yourself honestly, are you yourself lusting for the most immoral woman and then getting angry when you get that immoral woman and she destroys your damn life, even though the biblical text, other people, philosophers have already warned you that the easiest path to peace and prosperity in general is to avoid the unlucky and the immoral people. And so that doesn't change just because you want to get like a nut off. So my thought, my closing thought would just be that we as men, and particularly black men, have to accept the position that we find ourselves in with a woman who is never our woman and a woman that's being used against us to destroy our future prosperity. So I think that it's time for you guys to raise your standards and to like spend some time figuring out what you really want in life. And if you do that and you accept that painful truth that this woman was not engineered to be yours, but to be the pet of the white supremacists, man, I think you guys are going to have a very prosperous and happy life because, man, there's 4.55 billion women on the planet just waiting for you to bring your positive energy if you so choose to do so. And that's my final word on it tonight.
I'm sorry. Hello, can anybody hear me? Sorry, my mic keeps going off. Sorry, can everybody hear me now?
Yeah, we hear you. We were just starting off.
Yeah, no, I was saying very well said, brother. And I just want to mention one thing before we departed tonight. Now, I saw, like I mentioned before, the live stream was lit, and I noticed that at one time, I know most of it was Penny Proud. More than half of the chat room were trolls, and you brothers did a very good job of keeping track of that. However, I want you guys to pay particular attention. I know I'm a lesser known, to some extent, YouTuber and content creator, and my streams are usually and chat rooms are usually smaller. But I want you guys to notice the core difference between when black men come on Brian Solange's discussion panel and when they come on any of a number of these other Negroes, male or female. Okay, you notice in my chat rooms, not in my chat rooms, in my discussion panels, there's no bickering and arguing and yelling and screaming. Yes, sometimes brothers disagree with one another, but we do it respectfully. Okay, that's because I don't have just number one, I just don't have just any nigga that comes on my shit. Okay, I have known proven brothers that I've seen in my streams, or brothers that I've heard their content, and I know exactly where they stand as black men, not only their opinions, but that they have a certain level of intellect and self-control of themselves to the point where they can actually be classified as men. Not like these niggas that are going on Renaissance Woman, aka the Neutral Zone, or Cynthia G's fucking chats and arguing with each other and acting like fucking fools, trying to impress some bimbo that don't give two shits past a dead man's last fart about what these niggas are on one way or the other. Okay? I want y'all to keep that in mind. This is how black men in the year 2019 that obviously don't have a lot of friends and allies should not only conduct themselves as individuals, but should conduct themselves amongst one another. If I die tomorrow, you can say that I set at least that example. If I didn't set any other example in front of y'all, I set at least that example of how black men should treat their fellow brothers. Okay? So with that in mind, I want to thank everybody from the bottom of my heart, from the panel members who came on tonight, to everyone who was in the chat room, the moderators that did their job, even the trolls for driving more traffic to my shit. Thank all of you for coming on. We had an absolutely wonderful live stream. The title was Black Men in Single Life, Analyzing What Life is Really Like for a Marlboro Man Part 2. YouTube couldn't stop us. We came back here stronger with less. And everyone have a good night's sleep. And special thanks to you, King Sigma, and you, Ignat Analect, for being my panel members tonight. All
No
of you
problem.
brothers take
Good
care.
night. You have a good night, Ignat. You have a great night, Brian. To the chat. You guys all have a good night, and I'll talk to you next time.
Yep,
Yeah.
talk to all you brothers later. Y'all take care.
All right.